a spectator. Today, fore is used to warn golfers or spectators of an errant shot. Whether it's derived from the Middle Ages, military practice, or Scottish roots, fore has become an integral part of the game of golf, and now you know why. That's your Golf to Go. I'm Frank LaRosa.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Nia.
Hi, Nia. It's Jennifer. Did you know that Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Yeah, I work here.
Okay. I was just double checking. Get it?
Because Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Oh, you get me, Nia.
You could say that I double get you.
I guess we've taken it too far.
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
Oh, wow, honey, I love it. It's so beautiful and so sparkly.
Just like you, Mom. Happy Mother's Day.
I'll wear it every day. It goes with everything.
This Mother's Day, wow Mom with spirit-lifting, outfit-making, express your love jewelry. Shop jtv.com/mom for wow-worthy and budget-friendly styles.
I'm never taking it off.
Another wow factor? Sign up for JTV Text and get $30 off. If she loves jewelry, she'll love JTV.
At Valley Strong Credit Union, we know that local businesses are the backbone of the Central Valley, investing in our neighborhoods, boosting the economy, making the Valley stronger. But when it comes to their finances, where can they turn? A big bank that just sees another number? That's not good enough. Valley businesses deserve Valley support for payroll, credit, cash flow, and everything in between. Valley Business is Valley Strong. Learn how our cash management services can support your business at valleystrong.com.
I'm Ken Korak with your Green and Gold Report, brought to you by Comcast Business, powering possibilities. Well, for the A's to have any chance of contending this year, it will start with starting pitching. And besides the tough outing by Joey Estes in the home opener, and looking back at the Seattle series and led by offseason acquisitions Luis Severino and Jeffrey Springs, the A's starters went 23 2/3 innings. They allowed just 14 hits and 3 earned runs. Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business with reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, advanced fiber solution, and Wi-Fi backup. Comcast Business helps turn today's small businesses into engines of modern business. For details on special offers, including free professional installation and up to a $500 Visa prepaid card on qualifying internet bundles, log on to business.comcast.com. Comcast Business, powering possibility.
Great conditions, a fun layout, and unbeatable value. Timber Creek and Sierra Pines are Sacramento's #1 rated golf destination. With 27 holes, a spacious practice facility, and professional instruction, there's always a way to improve your game. Planning a tournament or corporate event, they offer customizable packages and award-winning catering to make your event effortless. Timber Creek is easy to find in Roseville, but hard to forget. Book your round today at timbercreekgc.com or call 916-774-3851.
KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sacktown Sports 1140. We're home for Kings Talk and so much more.
Live and local.
Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
Yes. On a Tuesday, Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports, taking you up to 2 p.m. And as we sat there and watched the Sacramento Kings do things that we really didn't think they were able to do, I sat there and said to myself, the hype train is going to pull in to Sacramento. The hype train is going to pull in to Detroit. The hype train is going to pull in to Central Pennsylvania, which is where I'm coming to you live for majority of the week. And one thing that we've learned from this Kings team is that they gotta be one of the hardest teams to try to evaluate on a day-to-day basis. One day they're losing to the Wizards. The next day, they are winning back-to-back games against some of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. One thing I think we all wish is that Sacramento was on the East Coast or at least played in the Eastern Conference, because it's not as if they are feasting on the Wizards and teams like that. Yeah, they beat the Hornets, but they're on a 3-game winning streak right now. Zach LaVine is on a ridiculous heater. Okay. And since we're spending so much time talking about Zach LaVine, we haven't even been talking about the fact that DeMar DeRozan is still doing DeMar DeRozan things. Together, the both of them, that tandem, that duo, also doing things that we haven't seen this team do in a very long time. One day they're yin, one day they're yang, but all I know is that with crunch time coming and a butter situation for the end of this season, this is the time to be playing your best basketball. And I think we all, thank you, Jake LaRavia. Hope to see you back soon. And I think we all hoped that we would see a version of this. Didn't want to get our hopes up. But last night when the Kings were down 18, I didn't even feel bad. And it wasn't the same thing. It wasn't the, I'm numb to things, right? Like when they lost to the Wizards and lost to the Bulls and lost to the Magic. I felt like, hey, they gave it a good run. Malik Monk goes down. You're already missing Keegan Murray, and something happened. They decided again that they are going to tap into this new fight button that they just got in the mail for all you gamers out there. They just unlocked a new attribute, right? The fight attribute. And the Kings unlocked that, and they decided, no, we're not going down. No, beating the Cavs, it's not good enough. We want more. And I did not expect the Kings to show up in that way. The same way we've seen teams do this to the Kings when the Kings were the team in the lead and you just chip away, and you just don't feel shaken by anything. That's what we're seeing from the Kings on the other side now. They're the team that's not getting tight. They're the team that's not getting shaken. They're the team that are keeping their cool like the other side of the pillow as they go through each and every one of these games. So I think the big message is this, and we continue to see the texts and calls and Sack Chat that, hey, well, the future this and the future that. Don't worry. And the past this and the past that. Don't worry. Like I said, on this show, the biggest thing that we do is we compartmentalize. We're still going to have conversations about the future, but that doesn't mean that we can't enjoy what's happening in the present as the Kings are doing things that I did not see this coming. Maybe some people did, but this is exactly what we wanted to see. But with that being said, are we falling for it again? And when I say we, and when I say are we falling for it, it's not that you or me think that the Kings now don't have to make any moves in the offseason. But are we getting to that point again where if you fast forward 2-3 months, Monty McNair, number one, still has his job. And again, I would never come for anybody's job. Everybody got families trying to put food on their table. I would not do that. But now, with how the Kings are playing, are we setting ourselves up for one of those situations where it's, well, hey, Domantas Sabonis has been injured. Malik Monk has been in and out of the lineup. Jake LaRavia, one of our biggest gets, hasn't been able to play. Devin Carter just started playing in January. He's been a bit dinged up. What if we run it back? If you actually look at Monty McNair and what he did, could we have been in that 5 or 6 seed? Are we falling for it? Are the Kings going to use this to give themselves a get-out-of-jail-free card? Because that is my only fear in when watching this. And I think that's what a lot of people feared when we spoke about what this team could be. Does it make a difference if they lose the first game to the Mavericks versus losing the second game to the Grizzlies or the Timberwolves? Does that make a difference? So we're going to break all that down the next 4 hours of this show. Also, very excited at 11 o'clock in less than an hour. We are kicking off our first coaches show on the Allen Stiles Show. Really excited to get this going. Brought to you by Roxas Technology Solutions. That's going to be every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Might change based on what Eric Martins is up to. Eric Martins, the third base coach for the Athletics. Today is the first day. That's coming up at 11. We're going to talk to Eric about the switch between Oakland and Sacramento, some of the things that have been different, how the vibe has been in Sacramento, and more importantly, how do they start to see a bit more of that success on the field? So very excited. That's coming up at 11. We're going to have that conversation about Monty McNair getting let off the hook as well. Don't you worry. We have a recap. We have Chrissy's cuts. We have the hopefully updates on Malik Monk and that calf injury, also on Keegan Murray as well. And of course, we're going to do some pocket watching tonight because now it matters. Now the Kings are back in the fold. So very excited for this Tuesday. Y'all know I don't even like Tuesdays, right? But this was a Tuesday. I was very excited. Show starts at 1 o'clock. So I had plenty of time to get everything ready for you, Sacramento, as we take you up to 2 p.m. 916-339-1140. Like we said, how are you feeling about the Kings? Phone lines are open all day long. We do have that interview that we're really excited to have with Eric Martins, our coach's show. That's at 11, but phone lines open all day long. You want to sit on hold? You can sit on hold. Kyle will get to you. He's working extra hard as we're doing this remote show for the next couple days here. But the hype train, it's officially here. Okay? Thank you, Kyle. This is my first time hearing that sound. We got Styles Espresso, but we also have the hype train. So we have both at the same time. The debut of the hype train, the debut of our coach's show. The Kings are on a 3-game win streak, and all of a sudden, the Kings look like a team that has swagger, that has aura, and we still might not know what their offense is because right now it's simple. Give the ball to Zach or DeMar and get the bleep out the way. It's still not personally my cup of tea, but y'all know I'm going to go back in the day because I'm a millennial. It does remind me of and one basketball. That's what it reminds me of. Remember the Professor? Remember Hot Sauce? That's what it reminds me of, okay? Oh, baby. Back in the day, remember Spider as well? He'd hang on the rim. That's what this team is. ISOs and very little to no defense. Throughout the season, I'll give you this much. It's not really sustainable, but in the playoffs, you need elite shot makers. You could make the argument that the Kings have some of the most elite shot makers in the Western Conference. Now, does that necessarily translate to playoff success? We're going to see. They're in a tough spot, but it does make sense to me that I can be a little worried about this team as a whole throughout a season if they were to run it back, but also feel surprisingly good about what might happen in the play-in. Throughout the season, it's about different situations, team play, team defense. This team is never really going to make sense, and I think I have come to terms with that, and I believe you've come to terms with that. So let's just see where they can take us. You know, last night, there's still people. I saw one person respond to me, and I'm saying, you know what? Hey, if you look at what Zach LaVine is doing, this makes a lot of sense. This trade happened. Players have told us time and time again they do not like getting traded during that trade deadline. And these are guys that are on the outskirts, right? These are guys that are just an extra piece here or there, not somebody that's going to be your number 1 or number 2 option, and not a Luka situation where this is for the future. This is for right now. So, of course, it was going to take time. And that's what we're seeing. And somebody responds to me and they say, oh, well, I remember Sac Media after that Wizards game. All of a sudden, they didn't believe in the Kings, so don't switch up now. Look, brother, there's 4 games left, 4 games left. Who cares about, number one, if you're not going to tell me something I said myself, then that's just lazy. At least quote me and not just throw everybody into a pile. That's number one. Number two, there's not enough time to continue to do this. Oh, you switched up on this. Yeah, the Wizards game was terrible, objectively terrible. So, of course, most people weren't excited about what the Kings were doing at that time. When the facts change, opinions change. We all knew that we saw flashes from Zach. And we all knew that that Wizards game was embarrassing. The Magic game was embarrassing. But we all hoped to see this. And again, I haven't really changed my stance on how I feel going into next season. But there is so much going on in the world. You're not going to deter me from celebrating the Kings winning back-to-back games on a Zach LaVine heater with DeMar shorthanded, with DeMar DeRozan doing his thing as well, heading into the play-in. And I told y'all I would say some stuff that I might regret. And I'm going to get into that in about 2 minutes. Don't move. Allen Stiles Show here, taking you up to 2 p.m. Very excited. Got some debuts going on the show today. We are going to get you feeling really good about this team, and we're not letting any haters or naysayers say anything. Compartmentalize. That's the key here, folks. We'll talk to you soon. We'll be right back. Allen Stiles Show, Sacktown Sports.
Wednesday night, Kings and Nuggets. Game night with Scott Marsh and the high flyer Henry Turner starts at 5:30. Tip-off at 7.
The Kings play here on Sacktown Sports.
Sacktown Sports, 1140.
It's the final days of the spring sales event. Drive home your new Honda before the deals and the new Hondas disappear. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Looking to own or lease? During the spring sales event, drive a brand new Accord or Civic. Visit us today at FolsomLakeHonda.com, your one-stop Honda shop.
As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Are you ready to unlock your business's potential? Hey, I'm Allen Stiles, and you can do that with Roxas Technology Solutions. Their mission is to empower growth through cutting-edge, reliable, and scalable technology. They tailor solutions to enhance efficiency and foster innovation, ensuring your business thrives in the digital age. Located in Sacramento, their dedicated team is ready to partner with you for your long-term success. Transform your business now. Go to roxtech.com. That's WROXTECH.com. Rox Tech. Tomorrow's technology at your fingertips today.
The Sacramento Kings are going to crawl to within a game of 500. The final seconds tick away in the inbounds pass. J.B. Bickerstaff comes over to congratulate Doug Christie. And the Sacramento Kings, in most unlikely fashion, have scored back-to-back wins in Cleveland and in Detroit. In the second half, the Kings outscored their opponent 65-45. The final score is now official, and it's been erased from the board, but I think it was 127-117. And that has
Allen
been
Stiles.
confirmed.
Watch the show on youtube.com/Sacktown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sacktown Sports app.
A lot of things to be happy about if you are a Sacramento Kings fan. As the Kings, the word that we keep bringing up is fight. Last night I said the biggest thing I saw from the Kings beating the Cavs was want to. They have a new want to. They have a new fight. And as much as people want to have questions about the X's and O's with Doug Christie, I think some are fair, some are not. What we're learning is that this team has a dog in them. And early on with Doug Christie, we said, hey, well, what if the dog that we're looking for, what if the dog is actually through Doug Christie, the coach? Then they start losing games, some injuries happen, and we think maybe that's not really the case, but it feels like it's starting to come back. And again, this stuff was going to take time. I still don't know what they're going to be headed into next season. I still think that they need a point guard. They need a couple different factors that they don't have right now. But what they do have is elite shot making. And that will take you a long way in March Madness situations. And Kyle, I'm sorry about Houston, by the way, buddy. But in March Madness situation, that is exactly what we are looking for. So like I said, I might regret some things if the Kings pull this off. That's on top of the fact that I didn't know that Keegan Murray for sure wasn't playing. I also didn't know that Malik would happen to go down with a calf injury. They're down 18 points. They could have easily laid down and just said, you know what? We trust that the Suns are going to lose to the Warriors as they take on each other tonight. We trust that the Mavericks are going to mess around and do something. We don't necessarily need to win this game, but that's not what they did. So I'm going to tell you this much right now. I don't want to go too crazy and say something that I'll regret, all right? But I will say this. This is clearly a team that nobody wants to face in the play-in. And I'm not going to say a team that nobody wants to face in the playoffs because I don't want to get clowned here. But this is by far the team. Now, obviously, the Mavericks struggling with no Kyrie. They're not in the mix. But I'm going to do the thing that scared us after the Kings beat the Warriors. I'm falling for it, folks. The same way last season the Kings beat the Warriors, and prognosticators, national guys said, oh, the Kings are getting into the playoffs. They're beating the Pelicans.
The seer of seers.
That's right. And we fell for it because they lost. And I'm going to fall for it again. Last night, I said that the Kings, the path is clear, just like Dune. Okay? My vision is clear. You beat the Mavericks, and then you go on to beat the Grizzlies. I say to you today, my friends, that it doesn't have to be the Grizzlies. It does not have to be the Grizzlies. This team that I saw the last 2 nights, now I don't know if we're ever going to see this team again. We might not see this team from the 3-0 win streak again this season. But this team, that team we saw last night and in Cleveland, that team is going to the playoffs. That team would beat the Grizzlies. That team would beat the Clippers. That team would beat the Timberwolves. That specific. Now, pay attention to what I'm saying. That team. And it doesn't have to be LaVine with 43 points, but a decisive LaVine, a plan on offense. Still had some bad turnovers, but you're turning the ball over less when you have a plan. And I do think, as much as it pains me, not that the Kings were better with Malik Monk out, but the offensive plan where you're not messing around anymore. You're not trying to force, hey, we got to run this offense. We have to work everything through Malik. This team doesn't make sense. And they're almost better when they don't make sense. Let LaVine shoot with 20 left on the shot clock. If he's in rhythm, that's the best shot. Who cares? It makes sense to me. I'd rather see that than fry 10, 20 more seconds off the shot clock and turn it over. Because you're trying to feed Domas, you're trying to do this, or you're trying to get the pick and roll going. If LaVine feels good about something, just do it. If DeMar feels good about something in spurts, just do it. But that team from last night will go to the playoffs. I don't know if we're ever going to see them again. I really hope we do. They got the Nuggets tomorrow night. And here's the crazy thing about when you're playing with house money. You know, I just left Vegas. When you're playing with house money, I can still feel like the Nuggets could smack them tomorrow. And it's not going to make a difference to me. Because they're not going to have to, well, I guess technically you never know with this 3 through 8 situation, but they're probably not going to have to face the Nuggets in the play-in or in the first round because they're stuck in the 9-10 slot. So to me, what I've been seeing from them has nothing to do with the future, has nothing to do with how I feel about Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Malik Monk, and that combination together and how it really just doesn't work. But when that team decides, hey, this is our game plan, and we're starting to learn. One thing that I've seen, and we're going to talk more about Zach LaVine, that dude loves the ball on the wings, right? Early on, when we were watching this team, he's in the corner. They don't know if they're trying to post him up, right? He's getting grenades with 5 seconds left on the shot clock. We are starting to see what he likes. He likes to catch the other team sleeping. So does that mean he's going to hit every single time? No. But Zach LaVine is incredibly rhythm focused. And this team didn't really have a rhythm because they didn't have any shooters like that. They had Keegan Murray, who a lot of times Keegan is going to find the open shot. They had Malik Monk, who likes to shoot off the dribble. They had De'Aaron Fox, who, again, got a lot of open shots because teams are willing to live with it. The Kings never really had a rhythm shooter like that. So they're starting to learn, hey, when Zach's feeling it, just get it to him. Even if he misses early in the game, he's starting to get there. He's starting to feel good about what he's going to have to do later in the game. So you traded for somebody, you had injuries, and on top of that, who you traded for, that player, completely different player than De'Aaron Fox. And it's fine. But this thing was going to take time, and they just never were really going to have enough time. But here we are, starting to see what this team could be. There's not a championship team. Like I said, I'm not going crazy. But one thing that we are seeing from them is that the elite shot making could at least get the Kings to the playoffs. You got to be hot, and that's what I'm talking about. You stay hot. We just saw Zach LaVine get hot for 2 games, right? And we know what DeMar DeRozan can bring to the table. And Keegan, you didn't have Keegan Murray. You didn't have Malik Monk. You still don't have Jake LaRavia. So I would still rather have the Grizzlies. But this team last night, yeah, that 7-8 team is not going to be happy, whoever loses and has to face the Kings. And I'm not disrespecting the Mavericks.
Visions are clear now.
Thank you. Thank you, Dune. Okay?
The visions are clear now.
The Grizzlies or the Clippers or the Timberwolves.
The visions are clear now.
On the other side, let's break down what exactly happened in Detroit as the Kings took care of business. We'll continue to talk about the different play-in and playoff scenarios when we return. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Consolidated Communications.
I'm Tamara Berg in the KCRA 3 Weather Center. Welcome to your Tuesday. Out the door, you'll probably need a jacket for the morning, but for the afternoon, we're going to be running warmer under mostly sunny skies and light north winds. Highs today will peak in the low to mid 70s. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA 3 News and the KCRA 3 app.
For your home internet, choose more speed and less frustration. Fidium Fiber Internet was built for reliability. It's perfect for streaming sports, watching TV, and working from home. Check out FidiumFiber.com for speeds up to 2 gigs.
Coach Doug Christie here for your truck headquarters, Folsom Lake Ford. Shop all your favorite models on sale now, like America's best-selling F-Series. Check out a huge selection of Mavericks, F-150s, and Super Duty trucks, or tech-filled SUVs like Explorers and Expeditions, plus a huge selection of Broncos and Bronco Sports. All in stock now at Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall. Right now, buy any new Ford with 0 down on approval of credit. Save big with low interest finance rates. And Folsom Lake Ford always pays top dollar for your trade. Hurry to Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall, a 6-time Triple Crown winner for sales and service excellence. That's why they are my trusted dealer, and they should be yours too. For 35 years and counting, come down and take a test drive today. Tell them Coach Doug Christie sent you, or shop online at FolsomLakeFord.com.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Power Business Technology is proud to be one 100% independent, locally owned and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer since 2021. Contact us today for all your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729, or visit us at powercopiers.com.
Sacramento's premier country music festival, Country in the Park, is coming back May 16th and 17th at Cal Expo with Bailey Zimmerman, Billy Currington, Cole Wetzel, Nate Smith, and more. You'll enjoy food trucks, rock walls, and a mechanical bull, line dancing, and more. Single-day GA tickets start at $52 at CITPFest.com. Country in the Park, May 16th and 17th with Rox Tech, Michelob Ultra, and Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. More info at CITPFest.com.
Save $12,000 off MSRP on new 2025 Silverado 1500 LT at the Maida Chevy Silverado Supercenter after all rebates. And Maida Chevy still has one of the largest selections in the Sacramento area with $12,000 off new Silverado exclusively at the Maida Chevy Silverado Supercenter. Now that's big, huge. See them all at MaidaChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
5% savings was trade in 2011 or newer. Not available with special financing, lease, and similar offers.
Made a great deal at Maida.
Sorry, it's LaVine who takes the feed now. He goes in the left corner. LaVine now perimeter almost straight away. Launches. He scores the triple. It's the 8th one in 11 attempts. He's got 41 points in the building where he scored his career high of 51. That was in October of last season.
Your home for Kings talk and so much more.
Live and local.
Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
So Kyle and I like to play back and forth with the breaking news banner, but Kyle, you have to fire it up now. This is a legit one.
When it breaks,
we have it first.
It's Sacktown Sports breaking news.
So
Shock.
here it is. Breaking from Shams about 2 minutes ago. The Denver Nuggets have fired Coach Michael Malone. And Chris Haynes has also confirmed, people saying, is Shams hacked? Confirmed by Chris Haynes. Shams reported it first. The Denver Nuggets have fired Coach Michael Malone. Sources told.
Hell no.
Yeah.
Hell no.
Sources told ESPN. I am completely speechless. I don't know why this stuff keeps happening, but now we've gotten to the point where the Mike Brown stuff possibly doesn't look as ridiculous. I mean, this has just gotten crazier and crazier, right? You have, first off, Mike Brown, who gets the Kings to the playoffs, but they lose in the first round. Next season, they miss the playoffs. Then you have Taylor Jenkins, another level of success. They got to the second round a couple times, also dealt with some injuries, but the Grizzlies, Ja Morant, they really changed who they were, and everybody felt really excited about that. Now you've gotten to the boss version of this, where Michael Malone, who has won a championship with this team, has just been fired. Let's check it out here. Again, a week and a half before the playoffs start.
10 days.
Incredible. And we're seeing the same thing again. What happened? What did he do? What did he say? This is insanity. I'm sure more is going to come out, and we will continue to give you that information. There has been some rumors, right? He wanted to keep KCP. He really likes defense. I heard that some of the conversations that were had were about Jamal Murray, who again doesn't love defense, and Jokic, honestly, as good as he is, one thing he can't do really, or isn't that great at, is defense. So I don't know if there were inherently just misunderstandings about the direction of the team. They are, again, preparing, and I haven't even seen, Kyle, who's taking over. But
not announced yet.
This is getting ridiculous now. I mean, this is getting ridiculous. I'm looking here, and this just goes to show that nobody ever is safe, right? The Nuggets in that 4 seed, obviously they're in a fight with the Clippers and Warriors and Lakers to try to stay above the fold there. But this reminds me, and I'm not going to name names because it's not necessary, but when you find out that actress that you really like and somebody was dating or married to and somebody messed around on them, and you start saying, or the guy on the other side, one of the best looking guys ever, and his significant other messes around on them. You think, if that dude ain't safe, is any man in the world safe? Is anybody in the world safe? If Michael Malone is not safe, is any coach safe? Is any coach safe in the NBA? This is insanity.
Okay, let me try and play devil's advocate here, because the Nuggets are currently on a 4-game losing streak. They've lost 8 of 10.
I know teams hate those losing streaks. Don't go on a losing streak. Don't do that, or we might can you, even if you won a championship before.
Hey, Nuggets Kings tomorrow, by the way. That'll be fun.
Oh, my. Hey, the hype train rolls on, baby. They don't even have a coach. This is perfect. That's right. Nuggets do.
Okay, so they've lost 8 of 10. They've lost 4 in a row. They're still in the 4 seed right now, but if you look at our fun playoff probability index, there's a pretty decent chance they'll end up in the play-in still at this point, because they're essentially 2 days away from the...
Excuse me?
Yeah, they have the toughest schedule left of the group. They have to play at Sacramento, home against the Grizzlies, and at the Rockets. If they drop all 3 of those games, they will be the 8 seed.
Let me tell you something right now. I'm very excited for the Kings. There's one team. Remember about 5 minutes ago when I said whoever's that 7 or 8 does not want to see the Kings? Yeah, the Nuggets don't count. I'm willing to ask the Kings to lose tomorrow just so that the Nuggets don't end up in the play-in. But continue, Kyle.
Visions are clear now.
Well, now they're getting a little blurry if the Nuggets are in the play-in. Continue, Kyle.
So yes, this is the thing. Of all the teams in this group, whoever loses the most games will be the 8. And this is what I was telling you yesterday, is like, I understand the visions being clear and taking on the Grizzlies, which honestly, this just opens up the door for more teams that have fired coaches to potentially be the team who the Kings play in the 8-9, potentially. But the West is so close right now, and the Nuggets are not only the worst team of the group over the last 10 games, they also have the hardest schedule the rest of the way. There is no game that I think, except for maybe the Kings, that they're going to be favored in.
Right.
So Denver's in this weird position where they probably came to the same conclusion as Memphis, which is a first-round exit with a should be 4-time MVP just doesn't mean anything to them. And what's only strange about it is that Michael Malone is a champion coach who has won 7 playoff series with the Nuggets and been there for almost a decade now. That's what was so surprising about this move, is that he's not a Hall of Fame coach, but like, I would imagine he's going to be at the front of the line for every job except the Kings in the NBA.
Is this a cheap way to get whoever you feel good about some quick playoff experience? Is there some of that going on? Like we said, it hasn't even been announced yet who will be the coach for the Nuggets, or if it did, it just happened. We're going to keep you in the loop on that. But the same way, the Grizzlies, very, very similar to the Kings.
Hold on, we've got another breaking news.
Okay.
When it breaks,
we have it first.
It's Sacktown Sports breaking news.
20 seconds ago from Shams Charania, full clean out. The Denver Nuggets are firing general manager Calvin Booth along with Michael Malone.
What is happening? What is going on here?
That part is crazy because Calvin Booth, for those who don't know, Tim Connolly was the one who built the Nuggets champion, and then he moved on to Minnesota. Calvin Booth is a champion general manager, and usually you don't get fired for not re-signing KCP when the problem was ownership didn't want to pay KCP.
Right. That is incredible. I mean, again, why now? I don't know. And I think more of this will probably come out in the offseason, and Shams is probably about to be on it. What is the purpose of moving off of these guys during the season? What is the thought process there? Because this is completely different than the Mike Brown thing. That's at the beginning of the season. That's, hey, this is kind of left over from last season, but we didn't know what to do. We wanted you to get off to a good start, and it didn't happen. This right here, firing the general manager right before the playoffs start, and you have no clue what's actually going to happen, especially when you have a game changer like Jokic. This is a bit unprecedented. I'd say we haven't really seen anything like this, especially for it to happen to two franchises. Obviously, the Grizzlies didn't do anything with the GM, but moving on from two coaches while these teams are in the mix, it just, again, that's why I'm wondering, is this more about, and it can't be. The Grizzlies is one thing because Isalo, they know that they've liked him, and that was maybe going to happen either way. But with the Nuggets, if you are getting a new GM, whoever the interim is, unless the interim is another owner, not friend of the owner, but somebody the owner really likes, you'd assume that you're going to get a new coach anyway. So I just truly don't understand. Are they trying to make a stand? Are they trying to prove something by getting rid of these guys before the season is over? That's what I'm more so interested in. Either way, both would have been surprising. I think Taylor Jenkins wouldn't have been as surprising. Let's say it's different when it actually happens. If the Grizzlies lost in the first round or fell into the play-in and lost to the Kings, as I have seen because I am Paul Atreides, because I have seen that already, that's one thing. But this
are clear now.
This stuff hasn't even happened yet.
Yeah.
You're firing based on what you think is going to happen? I've never heard of that before.
That's what's so remarkable about this. And like you, I'm curious about what the end game is here. Like, what is this long vision that they have? And if I could try and piece together based on context clues, okay? Stan Kroenke and the Denver Nuggets have been notorious for being cheap. Whether that was the decision to upgrade from Jamal Murray when he had the torn ACL situation, whether that was not re-signing KCP, whether that was allowing Tim Connolly to leave the organization to go to Minnesota, even though he was an executive of the year in the past. They've made decisions based on finances in the past. The timing of it is what gives me pause to say this might just be a basketball organization type of transition. And then the obvious next question is, who's the great coach you're going to go try and hire? Or do you try and hire a first-time coach? Do you try and bring back Jordi Fernandez, who obviously used to be in Denver before he came to the Kings? So does Jokic want to stay? Does Jokic want to go? What does Jokic think about this? Those are all sorts of questions that I just don't have the answers to, but am, like you, equally curious to see what the end game is here.
All right. On the other side, we will continue this conversation. Obviously, we're going to get back to the Kings and what happened last night in Motown as the Kings have won 3 straight, one of the craziest back-to-backs. And we break down, are the Kings playing the best ball of the season for the interim Beam team? Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
No class, no balls.
Visit SacktownSports.com and join the Sacktown Sports 1140 newsletter.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it. Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 new lines with autopay for well-qualified customers, plus taxes, fees, and $35 per line connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us, plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
Allen Stiles here with your Sacktown Sports Injury Update, brought to you by Downtown LA Law Group. After Tommy John surgery in May 2024, Ken Waldachuk began a bullpen progression on March 4th. He continued to throw off the mound and remains in line for a potential return to the major leagues around June. Zach Geloff got his cast removed from his hand fracture and has started light workouts. A 4 to 6 week timeline is about the standard for such injuries, but Zach Geloff hopes to be back sooner. On the court, Devin Carter has been listed as day-to-day with a shoulder contusion and will be listed as questionable for the time being. This injury report was brought to you by Downtown LA Law Group. Hi, I'm Allen Stiles. Injured at work? Call Downtown. Downtown LA Law Group, California's leading injury law firm. With over 40 lawyers throughout California, they've won over $500 million in settlements. Downtown LA Law Group will get you compensation for your work injury. You don't pay unless they win. That's right. You pay zero up front. Call Downtown. Text injury help to 40222. That's injury help to 40222. Visit them at calldowntown.com.
Have you ever dreamed of shopping for the perfect jewelry from home? Well, now it's possible, and you can even build your credit. PrestigiOJewelers.com now offers online shopping, making us the premium credit jeweler nationwide. With an exceptional selection of fine jewelry, from engagement rings and gold chains to sparkling diamond earrings and much more. With over 30 years of experience, Prestigio guarantees you'll find exactly what you're looking for. It's fast and easy. Once approved, you'll receive a guaranteed credit line from $400 to $10,000. All you need is to be 18 years or older, have a valid form of ID, be employed for a minimum of 6 months, and a bank account for automatic payments. PrestigiOJewelers.com is the perfect way to establish or reestablish your credit, with interest rates at only 2.25% per month. We are here to help you with monthly reporting to all major credit bureaus. The perfect jewelry, the perfect price, helping you build perfect credit. Visit us online at PrestigiOJewelers.com or at one of our locations in Sacramento, Stockton, Merced, and Fresno. Enter code SACTOWNSPORTS at checkout to save 10%.
Your old HVAC system could be costing you a fortune in energy bills and repair bills. Right now, Sierra Pacific is offering deep discounts, saving homeowners thousands of dollars. Savings that won't be available later this year. But you must act fast. We have to fill openings in our schedule next week. This limited time offer is only available if you book your installation for next week. Don't wait until it's too late. Call Sierra Pacific and lock in your savings today.
Sierra Pacific Solar Heating and Air, the guys in the big red trucks.
Allen Stiles. Watch the show on youtube.com/SacktownSports1140.
Or listen on the Sacktown Sports app.
We are back. Just got some more information. David Adelman will be the interim head coach. He's their lead assistant. So what happens now if the Nuggets win the whole thing? Well, Michael Malone still gets that ring. You have the GM who would obviously have GM'd another championship team. And then you would also have David Adelman, who could say he's a championship coach. Now, obviously, the Nuggets don't feel like any of that will happen, which is why they moved off of Michael Malone. But this is incredible. And I'll say this, we don't know what's going to happen with Greg Popovich, but this changes so much going into the offseason as it pertains to some of these open coaching spots. We will have the conversation on how this affects the Kings. Now, whether Michael Malone would want to come back to Sacramento, I don't know about that.
Hell no. Hell no. Hell no.
If you remember the full context of the no class, no balls interview.
No class, no balls.
I believe Michael Malone said, it doesn't surprise me because I've worked there before and I've worked for that man, and that's how they do business. I do not believe Michael Malone will ever be returning to Sacramento unless it's by force.
No, but what we have now is it's kind of turning into a log jam of sorts. And we don't know, you look back at some of the teams that have underperformed And the Kings, they did underperform. They fired their coach, and Doug Christie looks like he's on track to finish above 500. And who knows what's going to happen in the play-in, having a really strong end to the season. Some of the teams that kind of underperformed. I mean, Eric Spoelstra, I think, is still safe. I think Eric Spoelstra is safe. So that's a team that's underperformed, but they're not going to move on from their coach. You look at the Western Conference. I mean, the Suns have a new coach every year, so I don't know what to do with them, and I don't know how many people would want to go to the Suns instead of Sacramento. We don't know. I mean, there's just as many question marks with the Suns. So I think that this makes the summer, and for content creators like us and radio hosts like myself, where the summer can be a little. I got Carmichael Dave back in February telling me, you need to get ready for the summer. I got my boss telling me, you need to get ready for the summer. This is the type of stuff that is going to help me throughout the summer, and it's going to be entertaining. Obviously, the A's are going to help as well. And speaking of, in about 10 minutes, we will be joined by Eric Martins, the third base coach for the A's. Our first coaches show here on the Allen Stiles Show. Very, very excited for that debut. We're going to talk to Eric about how he's feeling about the team out here in Sacramento and getting back on the winning side of things and what they've kind of seen so far. So that's coming up in about 10, 15 minutes. But you see all this stuff happen, and this is going to be one of the craziest off seasons for coaches I think we've seen in a while. I'm looking here, and then you have a team like the Blazers, Chauncey Billups. What are they going to do there? We spoke with a beat writer for the Blazers, about a month ago. They said, I think Chauncey's safe, but also you never know. Does anybody want to touch the Pelicans? Okay. The Spurs, like I mentioned before, the Mavericks. So I don't know what's going on with these coaching carousels, but I will say this, these contracts, people get mad when the players kind of don't honor contracts, and obviously players and coaches a little bit different when you talk about that player power and empowering the players and things like that. But now it's turning into these contracts for coaches just absolutely don't matter either. It's just, if we don't like what you're doing, we'll pay, we'll honor it, but you don't actually have to do your job, which is a great business model for the other side, because now you got to assume a guy like Taylor Jenkins and especially Michael Malone, they're going to be getting cashed out twice, Kyle. They're going to be getting cashed out twice because they're going to have their new job, and whoever that team that fired them is going to be cashing them out. You know who's the big loser here? Real quick, I just wanted to say this. You got to feel like Mike Brown is kind of in a tough spot, right? I mean, now you're battling with Taylor Jenkins, you're battling with Michael Malone. These are some big hitters. I would say that we're about one coach away from it being closer to Mike Brown having to do the assistant coach thing. That's what I would say.
Allen, we're looking at a situation this offseason where you have Mike Budenholzer, former coach of the year, available on the open market. You now have Michael Malone, not a coach of the year, but NBA champion coach. Taylor Jenkins, Mike Brown, and then potentially, depending on how things go, former coach of the year Nick Nurse might be out of a job in Philadelphia.
That's right.
You might have 5 coaches who are either coach of the year or NBA champion coaches available on the open market. And maybe they all just do a reshuffling with other teams and say, you take care of our mess and we'll take care of yours.
Yeah.
But there's also a world where some of them don't end up getting jobs, as you just mentioned with Mike Brown.
No, and I mean, maybe Mike Brown, who knows? Maybe he's over it. You know, you never know. He's been doing it for a really long time. He was spotted. I never told anybody this, but I got a random a text from my wife and my mother, and they spotted Mike Brown with his grandson. I won't say where, but they were with my daughter. So they were having fun where little kids have fun somewhere in Sacramento. So he was enjoying being a grandfather. So who knows if he even wants to get back into this mess. The Kings are paying him to hang out wherever he hangs out anyway. So who knows? I just thought about that off the top of my head now you have a Michael Malone entering into the fold. Crazy stuff. And you got to wonder whether or not some of these big players, as far as the actual team and the roster, if somebody said something, what's the relationship between Michael Malone and Nikola Jokic? I would venture to say, I don't think it's a crazy statement to say that Michael Malone can come off a bit prickly. So I don't know. This is just me wondering how in the world this happens. Unless the Nuggets are prepared to say goodbye and just start all over and try to get some cheap talent, you would think that maybe Jamal Murray or Jokic had to have been on board with this in some regard. Now, this is different to the Grizzlies stuff because you didn't see whoever their Desmond Bane is pushing Asante Aldama. The Nuggets always seem pretty buttoned up. Are we willing to say that Russell Westbrook got Michael Malone fired? Are we willing to say that? I mean, you're smoking layups, two games in a row. Is he still here? If they win those 2 games, if Russell Westbrook doesn't have the worst sequence in a very long time in his career, because that's what it kind of feels like. Feels like Russell Westbrook probably needs to text Michael Malone and say, my bad, G.
There's no way. There's no way.
You don't think if I'm Russell Westbrook, I'm texting him?
If Stan Kroenke did that, that would be a ridiculous thing to do. But also, the part of it, too, is like, how does Calvin Booth feel? He's the one who signed Westbrook, and it got him fired.
Yeah, right. So he's got to say, my bad to both of them. Westbrook does.
I guess, but Westbrook was awesome to start the season. Remember when I thought the Denver Nuggets were the greatest team since the 1996 Chicago Bulls earlier in the year? They were so awesome. Yeah. And then it just all fell apart because they can't play defense. And the reason why they won't win a championship this year is because literally no team that has been as bad as the Nuggets are on defense has ever won an NBA championship.
Well, don't switch up now, Kyle, because you had them with the 73-9 Warriors. You had them with the 2016 Cavs. Don't switch up now, Kyle.
I still think they're going to win a playoff series potentially. That's what's so crazy about this. Maybe they are going to say 1, 2, 3 Cancun, and it's fine. We don't care about beating. But if they draw the Rockets in the first round, you're saying that Jokic and Jamal Murray still can't beat the Rockets?
No. I have never wavered on my disbelief in the Nuggets. I've been here all season long. I didn't think Michael Malone should get fired, and I now wonder which organization, according to Michael Malone, has less class and less rocks. What would he say?
No class, no balls.
I think he's still going to go Sacramento.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
This was the other thing I didn't realize until just now, because they both got to Denver in the same year. Jokic has never had another coach. Like 4-time NBA MVP, Nikola Jokic is about to have his first coaching search of his entire NBA career.
Well, I'll tell you what happened right now. He walked in, he said, everybody knows what's going on with Luka and whether or not he'll be with the Lakers once again. Hey, do what you guys need to do because me and Luka, it's inevitable anyway. It's inevitable anyway. I don't know where it's going to happen, but Luka and Jokic, trust me on this. They have been cooking something up for the last couple years here. I don't know how they're going to pull it off, and I don't know why that's connected to Michael Malone, but just bookmark that one.
I'm with you.
Bookmark that one. All right. Well, we will bookmark Eric Martins, who joins us in about 5 minutes here. Our first coaches show. It's going to be every Tuesday. Whenever he's available, it'll be on these Tuesdays. We're going to try to keep it to Tuesday, but either way, we're doing this once a week. Third base coach, infielders coach for the Athletics, and we are going to break down how Eric is feeling being out here in Sacramento, how that ballpark is playing right now, and how the A's can start to get on the winning side of things. Very excited for Eric to join us. That's coming up in 5 minutes. Allen Stiles Show, Sacktown Sports.
Every day when we're on the road, people around us endanger themselves and others by looking at their phones while driving. There's the sneaker peeker who darts their eyes between the road and their texts, or the nightlighter who illuminates their car after dark. If that's you, reconsider before you find yourself becoming the fender bender-er, the got a ticket-er, or worst of all, the driver who killed someone. Put the phone away or pay. Paid for by NHTSA.
Unlock your business's potential with Roxas Technology Solutions. Their mission is to empower growth through cutting-edge, reliable, and scalable technology. They tailor solutions to enhance efficiency and foster innovation, ensuring your business thrives in the digital age. Located in Sacramento, their dedicated team is ready to partner with you for your long-term success. Transform your business now. Go to roxtech.com. That's WROXTECH.com. Rox Tech. Tomorrow's technology at your fingertips today.
Spring is here, and that means gigantic savings for all your oil change needs at Jiffy Lube today. Get a $25 gift card with the purchase of any Pennzoil Platinum full synthetic oil change through May 31st at your local Jiffy Lube service center in the greater Sacramento areas. And don't forget about the additional $30 off online coupon at jiffylube.com. Terms apply. Valid email address required. See pennzoil.com/rewards for details. Jiffy Lube, huge spring savings for you today.
The PGA club fitters at the Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio know that golf should be fun. They also know that players of all abilities will hit the ball farther and straighter, play better golf, shoot lower scores, and have more fun if they get fitted before they purchase golf clubs. Hagen Oaks delivers the same technology and major brands used to fit PGA and LPGA professionals. See how the game can be even more fun. Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio fittings are available 7 days a week. Make yours today by calling 916-808-2531. That's 808-2531.
Harbor Freight knows time is money. So for our Spring Black Friday sale, we're getting straight to the deals. This weekend, you get 35% off jack stands, 56-inch roll cabs under $800, and 2,300 PSI electric pressure washers under $190. See? Straight to the point. So you can get straight to the savings. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight. Valid until April 13th, 2025 while supplies last. Limitations apply.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million+ products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It's Carmichael Dave talking to you about my good friends at American Energy. You're in the Sacramento area. You know how the seasons work. They are a-changing right now. So American Energy wants to help you stay warm for the rest of the cold season, but help you stay cool during the warm season. Best way to do that, make sure your system is operating safely. So right now is the time to take advantage of half off a tune-up, $24.50. They cut that right in half, and if you want a diagnostic, guess what? You can't beat free. If it's free, it's me, and now it can be you. And also, it's the end of the season blowout. $4,000 off a new system plus any rebates. That $4,000, that's a direct drop from the sticker price. It's a great deal. Check them out at theaeway.com or an instant quote, or give them a call at 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990. Tell them your good buddy Carmichael Dave sent you.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Power Business Technology is proud to be a 100% independent, locally owned and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer since 2021. Contact us today for all your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729, or visit us at powercopiers.com. 49ers are on the clock. Don't miss Sacktown Sports coverage of the upcoming draft, brought to you by Twin Peaks, the ultimate sports lodge. No one covers pro football like Sacktown Sports, and there's no place better to enjoy it than with over 80 screens at Twin Peaks and their ice-chilled 29-degree drafts at the 5 p.m. happy hour kickoff.
Sacramento Kings basketball is after the launch to beat the clock. And he scores another three-pointer.
The run to the playoffs.
Oh, what a pretty move by Giannis Sabonis on Sacktown Sports 1140. You're home for Kings Talk and so much more.
Live and local.
Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
1 hour down, 3 to go. and we are about to be joined by Eric Martins, third base coach for the Athletics. I just wanted to say this real quick. A little bit of more drama is coming out. Apparently, it was well known that Calvin Booth and Michael Malone did not like each other. The KCP stuff that we talked about earlier, they rarely spoke. They talked behind each other's backs. And with the team struggling on the court, Nuggets ownership decided to fire both of them. That's from Kevin O'Connor. So basically, if you watch reality TV, or how about everybody knows I love joking about The Bachelor or Bachelorette, and there's two contestants that keep getting into it. And whoever is the Bachelorette just says, hey, neither of you are kind of focused on me, so I'm saying goodbye to both of you. So that is what the Nuggets decided to do. We have more of that coming up here, but as promised, we are joined by Eric Martins, third base coach, also infielders coach for the Athletics. Eric, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Of course, and this is brought to you by Roxas Technology Solutions. Eric, let's start here. I was reading a little bit of your background. You played in the athletics organization. You became the third base coach a couple years ago. How has your connection to the athletics been with all of the things that have changed? Has it been kind of weird for you? Are you understanding of the business side of it all? How has it been with your history and your connection to the organization now being out here in Sacramento?
Well, I've seen it all, as a player, as a scout, and now as a coach. So I understand pretty much everything that goes around. And, I've been around during the drafts and stuff, how we evaluate players, how we, decide on which players we want to pick. And on the coaching side, how we, player development, how we're going to develop these players. And then just as a player, being in the organization and seeing how, the players that I played with that were part of that Moneyball team and stuff like that. That was my era. So it's been pretty crazy. It's been a fun ride. It's been kind of a full circle moment coming back to Sacramento because I opened this stadium in 2000 as a player. So here I am again. So it's just it seems to keep on going.
That's right. Can't stay away. Talking to Eric Martins, third base coach for the Athletics. Eric, second home series. How would you say the team is adjusting to being out here in Sacramento?
I think it's a lot easier now, man. I mean, honestly, the first series, it was just hectic. I mean, there was just people everywhere in our clubhouse.
Yeah.
We never had an opportunity to get a workout in here and just call it our home. We were just getting unpacked, getting ready to get on the road, just getting off the road and just getting from Arizona. We only had a day and a half once we left spring training to get here. We never got a workout in, walk into the new facility. There's hundreds of people walking around who we don't know. And I think now that we're back, we've kind of settled in a little bit, and now it's gonna be a lot better.
Talking to Eric Martins, our coaches show brought to you by Roxas Technology Solutions. So how would you say the vibe has been during the games? Look, I'm so tired, Eric, of all of the pictures and screenshots. I haven't been to a game yet, but every game, here's a picture of how it looks in the first inning. Here's a picture of how it looks in the third inning. Can you just give us your thought on the vibes of the fan base, the city, when you're standing there at third base and Tyler Soderstrom hits his 5th home run on the game? Give us a feeling on how the vibes are in Sutter Health Park.
Oh, it's electric, man. I'm not going to lie. SAC has always supported their teams back to when I played here, and then seeing with the Kings. So, I mean, it's a vibe, man. It really is. The crowds have been great. They've been electric. They've been into it. We're waiting to get our first W here. The first series, like I said, man, it wasn't a good look for us, man, unfortunately. But it's not who we are and what kind of team we are. But they supported us that first series. They came out last night. Sodi hits those homers. The lights are coming off. The music's blasting. I mean, there's a good vibe here, man. There really is. There's electricity in the crowd. It feels good out there, man. Even though it's intimate, they're on you and they're into it. So, it's been outstanding.
We talked a little bit last week about the ballpark and how true it's going to play, and the ball's just flying out of everywhere. Tatis hit a ball. I don't know if it's landed quite yet, Eric. Luis Severino got interviewed after the game, and he said, the ball's flying a little bit. That's something we're going to have to adjust to. Can you tell the people what he kind of means by that? Does that mean, hey, if we're going to miss at home, we're going to miss low. We can't let these guys get that launch angle going and catch something into this jet stream when you see the flags flying out of here.
Yeah, it's something that we're going to have to get used to, and the staff's going to do a good job of doing that. You know, we got a good defense. We got to get the ball on the ground. And, you know, Sevy, look, he battled his butt off yesterday. Tough first inning, and then he dealt. You know, he made one bad pitch to Tatis. But you know what? That ball Tatis hit would have got out of anywhere. So it doesn't even really matter what park you're playing in. So there's going to be days where this ball is going to fly out of here. There's other times where it's going to play a little true, but it still is a little bit small, you know what I mean, in terms of other stadiums. But we play in other stadiums that are small as well. So it's no different than going and playing in Cincinnati or places that where the ball travels. Still got to go out, execute pitches, play good defense, and find a way to get a barrel to the ball. So it's going to be a little bit for them to get used to as well, because, you know, coming from Oakland, that place was so big and cavernous. Yeah. You can make some mistakes and get away with it. We're here. They're going to let you know.
Right. Talking to Eric Martins, third base coach for the Athletics, brought to you by Roxas Technology Solutions. We talked about Tyler Soderstrom a little bit, and I want to get into it a little bit more. Second time he's hit 2 home runs in one game. What are you seeing from him at the plate right now? He's dialed in, it looks like.
He's dialed in right now, and that's, you know, that's what he was, man. I mean, that's why he was drafted where he was drafted and where we took him. He was always an offensive bat that could catch. And we saw glimpses of it last year, and unfortunately when he was getting a good run, he got injured. So now he's just taking advantage now and being the guy that we know he could be. I mean, he's always been able to hit. That's what we got him for, and that's the reason why we drafted him. And he's starting to show now that you're seeing the maturity of Tyler Soderstrom as well. You know, you're seeing him take really good at bats, lefties, righties, it doesn't matter. I mean, if it's a statement with us, if you're a left-handed hitter and they start a lefty and you're still in the lineup. So that says a lot about what he's doing. So proud of his progress offensively and defensively. And you're just starting to see the surface of what he can do.
As we continue to go around the field here, a guy that I've been really high on and just excited to see what happens, got a little bit held up last season due to injury, but Jacob Wilson. Okay, I keep telling people, you don't realize how lucky you are if you're a fan base and you have a stud shortstop. These guys are so many every year. Eric, you were a scout. This is our savior. This is our next shortstop savior, and it doesn't work out. They get moved to the outfield, whatever it is. Talk to us about how important Jacob Wilson is to the present and the future of this A's organization.
I'll tell you what, man. I mean, all this guy has done since we drafted him is hit. And he's doing it right now, you know, and he came out in the draft as a guy that can touch the ball, find a way to put barrel to the ball, get his hits, and play solid defense. And as a shortstop in the big leagues, you got to be able to play solid defense. It starts up the middle. It starts with your center fielder, your shortstop, your catcher, and obviously starting pitching and relief pitching. And what he's done to go out there and improve from last year to this year is a testament to his hard work that he put in this offseason. You know, there are some things that he needed to work on, but we forget that last year was his first full season in pro ball, and he got to the big leagues.
Right.
So, like, you know, he didn't really realize the demands of playing in the big leagues every day and what it entails when you get up here. You know, it's a lot of hard work. You know, these guys get in here at noon before a 7 o'clock game and get their workouts in and early work, hitting the cage and do all the stuff before the game. And I don't think he realized that, even though his dad played for, 17 years. Him experienced it himself. He needed to go through that, and he worked his butt off this offseason, and you're seeing the rewards of what he did this offseason to improve.
I got to check real quick here, Eric. The torpedo bats. Will there be torpedo bats in Sutter Health? Are they already there? I haven't seen anything yet.
You know what, man? I'm going to keep that in-house. There might be a couple floating around. There might be a couple that were used for BP yesterday. I don't know. And maybe maybe they like them. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay, I like what I hear. Especially in that ballpark. We're gonna be doing some damage out there, right up on that hill.
I'll tell you what, man. There'll be a lot of handshakes and a lot of. I iced my shoulder after a game, sending all these runners home. So
I'll tell you, and I'd love to see that as well. As we talk about Jacob Wilson, Back in my day, Eric, when I was playing, the launch angle stuff hadn't really taken off yet, right? And it was get the bat to the ball, the Joe Morgans of the world, guys like that. Just get on base. When you see Jacob Wilson, is he one of a kind, or are you starting to see maybe a shift back in that direction of, hey, let's not strike out as much? Or is this more a specific Jacob Wilson thing?
Well, it's funny. It's a great question, and it's a great opportunity to say that you're seeing probably one of the best right now with the Padres with Luis Arraez. He's won multiple batting titles. He hits the ball everywhere, never strikes out. He's hard to defend. He's hard to defend against because he can just put the ball wherever he wants. And now you see Jacob Wilson, who just finds a way to get hits, man. I mean, this guy can slap a ball to right. He can, he's hit a homer this year. He's turned on a couple balls. He fights balls through the middle. He finds a way to get hits, and he has just great bat to ball skills. And Luis Arraez for the Padres is one of the best in the game right now. And you're seeing two guys that that are very similar. Not putting Jacob Wilson in Luis Arraez category yet because he's still got time to get there. But yeah, I mean, you're starting to see a launch angle. A few years back, even when I did the hitting, was real prevalent. People were trying to get these guys to get the ball in the air. Well, guess what? Pitchers combated that. They started elevating on them. They started getting right on their fastball. So now you have to find a way to adjust to these fastballs at the top of the zone. You can't have launch angle with 98-mile-an-hour fastball at your belt. It's not going to work. So now guys are starting to try to figure it out and trying to get over the baseball a little bit more and figure that out. But what Jacob Wilson does is special, man. I mean, he just finds a way to fight pitches off and get his hits and, put the ball in play. And, that's good for our team because we got some sluggers. We just need him to get off stuff when the opportunity is given to him.
Eric Martins, before we get you out of here for our debut, our first coaches show here on the Allen Stiles Show, brought to you by Rock's Technology Solutions. Before we get you out of here, obviously you want to win every game. But we talk about how young this team is, whether it's Soderstrom, who's 23, and Jacob Wilson. You have some vets on the team as well. But is there a level of, hey, we want to win these games, but we also want them to keep growing, keep learning. And there is maybe a spot in the season where it's, okay, now we need to start getting going here. Are we still early on where these are learning experiences and we want to win these games, but we understand how young we are versus you get closer to All-Star break? Hey, now these moral victories and these good games, we need to actually put some W's in that column.
We're kind of in between, you know what I mean? Last couple of years, we took our lumps, but those last few years, we started to form a group and a culture and a group of guys that we knew that we were going to be moving forward with that are going to be our future. So we were able to take our lumps the last couple of years and learn on those moments and teaching moments. Now, there's a higher level of expectation on our team this year. Not only from us, from media, people know we're going to be better. They know we can hit. So these guys have taken that next step and are able to understand that, look, we got to go out there and we got to play well every single day. We're not going to just go out there, roll out the bats and score 20 runs every single game. We're going to go out there and we're going to pitch. We're going to have to defend when those days where our bats aren't alive. So it's one of those things now we expect to win when we go out there. Our goal is to win every series. You're not going to go 162-0, but if you can win more series than not, then you put yourself in a good place to be where you want to be at the end of the year. So these guys, last year was a good learning year. They saw how good we really could be. And there's an expectation level that they have now that we want to go out and beat those teams. You look at the Padres, man, they're 7-2 this year, one of the best teams coming in the league. And we had them last night and played them really, really well. So these guys know that they can compete with anybody.
Eric Martins, thank you so much for joining us. We will talk to you again next week. Really excited to get this going all season long. The A's, the Torpedo Bats, whether they are here or not, we are excited for what's going on in West Sacramento. We'll talk to you again, Eric.
I appreciate you, man. This was fun.
Let's keep doing it. Eric Martins, third base coach for the Athletics. That was brought to you by Roxas Technology Solutions. Very excited to continue doing this with Eric. On the other side, back to the crazy situation that's happening in the NBA. How does this affect Doug Christie? And should this winning streak that the Kings are on keep him safe as well as Monty McNair? Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
All guests and callers join us from the Folsom Lake Honda hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Insurance companies perform a very valuable service, but they want to keep their money. Although most cases settle before trial, it is paramount that the insurance companies know that if pressed, your legal team has the experience to take your case all the way. For 25 years, Ashton & Price has earned the reputation that if the insurance company isn't fair, we're ready to force them to be fair. My mom used to warn me, wait till dad gets home. Think of us as dad. The best part, there's no fee until we win.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton and Price.
It's the final days of the spring sales event. Drive home your new Honda before the deals and the new Hondas disappear. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Looking to own or lease? During the spring sales event, drive a brand new Accord or Civic. Visit us today at folsomlakehonda.com, your one-stop Honda shop.
As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too.
Folsom Lake Honda. Your one-stop Honda shop.
Allen Stiles. Watch the show on youtube.com/SacktownSports1140.
Or listen on the Sacktown Sports app.
Thanks again to Eric Martins, our coach's show, first coach's show for the Allen Stiles Show. That's going to be every Tuesday, normally at 11, but obviously if they're running around, they're in New York or whatever the case may be, we will change those situations accordingly. But great stuff from Eric, and I feel good about the A's getting on the winning side of things very, very soon. Kyle, did you see the picture that went viral? I think it was Sean Cunningham. Everybody was trying to catch it, the beam, during the A's game. And Sean, you had to wait it out. Once it got dark, you saw it. And Sean, he got it. Sean Cunningham, Fox 40, he got the picture that everybody was looking for right there.
Yeah, so behind the scenes, I was there last night. We were all in the press box. And Brendan Nunez, I'm sorry to put him on blast like this. Brendan spent like 30 minutes down by the third base side trying to get like a time lapse of the beam turning on.
I saw that on social media. Yeah.
I feel so bad for him because you couldn't see it. You could tell the beam was there, but just the lights were making it so you couldn't really see the beam. On my walk back home, I could see the beam crystal clear from outside the stadium. It was just the stadium lights made it impossible to see the beams. So good on Sean for finally getting the photo for us, but it was, even his photo is kind of outside the stadium, which is
everybody was trying, and that's the best we're going to get. And we saw a beam because the Kings continue their win streak. It is now at 3. Beat the Charlotte Hornets. Hey, that's what you're supposed to do. Beat the Cavs. Hey, maybe they just own the Cavs this season. Who knows? Then you beat the Pistons. And we talked about the revenge maybe that we felt the Kings might want, even though Mike Brown gone and De'Aaron Fox gone, but they had that game and Domantas Sabonis didn't even play. With all that being said, that led to Mike Brown being fired, and he's not the only coach to get fired this season. And even in the last 2 weeks, if you're just now joining us, Shams didn't get hacked. We have some sound. Kyle's about to play. Taylor Jenkins fired not too long ago from the Grizzlies. Okay. Grizzlies never won the whole thing. Who's Ja Morant? What's going on here, right? Now you have Mike Malone getting fired, and I don't think anybody has really any understanding of why that happened besides maybe the rift between him and the GM. But Shams has some information for us that we're going to get to right now. Here it is.
For the deepest into a regular season we've seen a coach get fired, Michael Malone is the winningest coach in Denver Nuggets franchise history. He led that organization to a 2023 NBA championship. And the Nuggets, from my understanding, just believed that they needed a full culture reset. There's been something of a Cold War brewing between both Malone and Booth over the last couple of years. And Malone is really the established coach in place there. And now the fact that he is out, it is stunning across the NBA. Yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned it's stunning. This is obviously shocking to a lot of people in the NBA. Why are they deciding to do this now?
That's the biggest component to this, is you're days away from the NBA playoffs beginning. And my understanding is they felt kind of like the Grizzlies did with the departure of Taylor Jenkins, is igniting this team. They've lost 4 games in a row. They're now in the bottom half in the league in defensive rating. And so they felt like the signs were there that this season was not going to end well. And if you're going to make this decision at the end of the season to let go of Michael Malone and Calvin Booth and do a full reset, they're getting out ahead of what they felt they were going to do come the offseason. And between Michael Malone and Calvin Booth had really managed this team around young players the last couple years after winning that championship, saving money for ownership. They had saved, millions and millions of money in terms of tax over the last couple of years. And from Michael Malone's perspective, he's been trying to win a championship, building around win-now players with Nikola Jokic. So the fabric and what both sides had philosophically, there were some big differences there. And so instead of biding time, instead of maybe letting go of one guy and keeping the other, the Nuggets, Josh Kroenke, today let go of both.
I'm still not really sure why that decision is made. You have to, in your heart of hearts, know you agree with one side over the other. And I understand that if maybe the argument is, well, if we keep the GM and we have to bring in a new coach, now we're at his mercy because we're going to have to let him pick the coach. If we keep Mike, we're going to get a GM, and what if Mike doesn't like the second GM either? It's more surprising, and I don't think anybody would really disagree with this. Firing the GM is way more surprising to me than firing the coach. We go back and forth on what Desmond Bain said about Taylor Jenkins. Hey, he didn't take one shot. He didn't defend anybody this season. He wasn't on the court. So I do think in general, when you look at I understand the rift part of it, and that's what we're being told. But I would say that on top of that, there has to be some level of the Nuggets ownership just wasn't really happy with the front office either. Because the rift isn't enough to me for you to start over and possibly miss. You could possibly miss with your next GM. So that one makes less sense to me. The Michael Malone thing doesn't make sense to me either. But the GM, I'm not really buying that this was because they were tired of both of them fighting.
So here's why I understand the Booth firing a little bit more is because, he's the one who will get credit for the NBA championship, but he was not the one who built the team. Tim Connolly, who was the executive there for like 8 years, was the one who drafted Jokic, drafted Jamal Murray, traded for Aaron Gordon. The one big move I remember Booth making was he signed KCP, but then traded for KCP and then didn't re-sign KCP. But
right,
the big drafting Michael Porter Jr. was Tim Connolly. So I understand that point of like Connolly left to go to Minnesota. He just got promoted to the job. They won the championship, and then that grace period you get for winning the championship lasted 2 years. I guess this is kind of weird, but the argument might be they were going to fire him anyways, and it would have been harder to do that after going to the conference finals, maybe, I guess is kind of the weird argument I would make.
Yeah, but I also feel like what's interesting is, like you said, he didn't really make a lot of moves, which also means that he didn't really make a lot of bad moves, right? It's not like firing Vlade after missing on Luka. It's not like he had any, unless I'm missing something. It's not.
Well, I don't know. You keep bagging on all those young players he's drafted.
Well, they do play a lot. I mean, you got Brown. You got Christian Brown.
He was that was Calvin Booth's first pick. Peyton Watson, okay. Hunter Tyson.
Then it just starts going south. Maybe there's something to it. So that is the news out of Denver as we all prepare for the playoffs. Even teams in the playoffs, their coaches are preparing for Cancun. And nobody really saw any of this coming. You just start to wonder, what in the world is next? Well, we know what's next for the Sacramento Kings as the hype train continues to roll on. We have Chrissy's cuts that we will get to as well. And we get to some of the numbers from last night. DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine. I'm not saying they're anywhere near a best duo in the NBA. Do not get me wrong. But can they get the hottest out of any of the duos that are out there right now in the NBA? Let's talk about it. Also going to open up back the phone lines. How you feeling about the Kings? 916-339-1140. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
No class, no balls.
Wednesday night, Kings and Nuggets. Game night with Scott Marsh and the high flyer Henry Turner starts at 5:30. Tip-off at 7.
The Kings play here on Sacktown Sports.
Sacktown Sports, 1140.
I'm Ken Korak with your Green and Gold Report, brought to you by Comcast Business, powering possibilities. Well, for the A's to have any chance of contending this year, it will start with starting pitching. And besides the tough outing by Joey Estes in the home opener, and looking back at the Seattle series and led by offseason acquisitions Luis Severino and Jeffrey Springs, the A's starters went 23 2/3 innings. They allowed just 14 hits and 3 earned runs. Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business with reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, advanced fiber solution, and Wi-Fi backup. Comcast Business helps turn today's small businesses into engines of modern business. For details on special offers, including free professional installation and up to a $500 Visa prepaid card on qualifying internet bundles, log on to business.comcast.com. Comcast Business, powering possibility.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, the Scratch Kitchen delivers lunch in the clutch. I mean, where else can you order a 29-degree draft beer and a quickie combo on your lunch break? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Spring is in the air, and there's really nothing better than hitting the open road in a new Honda. Whether you're shopping for new or pre-owned, Stockton Honda has the selection and savings. Plus, get top dollar for your trade. And while life's roads are often filled with bumps, buying from Stockton Honda couldn't be smoother. Wherever the road you travel might lead, Stockton Honda is happy to get you there. Come in today or go to StocktonHonda.com.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Drapes, Kyle Draper. As the proud sponsor of the Sacramento Kings Mop Crew, Alsco Uniforms offers certified hygienically clean lab coats, scrubs, bed linens, towels, floor mats, and an array of mops tailored for your healthcare facility. Our services include convenient delivery to your doorstep. Leading the way in healthcare laundry services in Northern California, discover why it pays to keep clean with Alsco Uniforms. Go to alsco.com to learn more. Again, that's ALSCO.com.
Sacramento's premier country music festival, Country in the Park, is coming back May 16th and 17th at Cal Expo with Bailey Zimmerman, Billy Currington, Cole Wetzel, Nate Smith, and more. You'll enjoy food trucks, rock walls, and a mechanical bull, line dancing, and more. Single-day GA tickets start at $52 at CITPFest.com. Country in the Park, May 16th and 17th with Rocks Tech, Michelob Ultra, and Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. More info at CITPFest.com.
You know the old early bird and worm thing? Well, here's an early bird special and Bonnie's lowest price of the year. Imagine an entire new HVAC system replacement, both heating and cooling, for as low as, ready, $11,789. Take advantage of that. $11,789. Hurry, though. This is a limited offer and ends April 15th. The sooner you act, the sooner you save. Plumbing, electrical, heating, and air, Bonnie.com. Some restrictions apply. License 696-355.
2025 Rivercats baseball is finally here. Kick off the year with exciting baseball, brand new giveaways, and all the fun of Sutter Health Park. Whether you're with friends or family, don't miss a moment of Rivercats action. Get your tickets for the first games of the season at rivercats.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. 800-902-5454. 800-902-5454.
At Lowe's, pros save big on the supplies you need to get the job done. With the new My Lowe's Pro Rewards program, get member-only deals every week and access to free standard shipping. Plus, members earn points toward exclusive rewards. Join for free today. Lowe's, we help, you save. Points are awarded on eligible purchases. Program subject to terms and conditions. Free standard shipping not available in Alaska and Hawaii. Exclusions and more terms apply. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
Allen Stiles. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sacktown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sacktown Sports app.
The question that always comes up, and we are about to break down more of Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan's big night. And DeMar DeRozan had a big night too. Everybody is talking about Zach LaVine. And look, that heater was ridiculous. I almost said ridiculous for Zach LaVine. But let's not sleep on what DeMar DeRozan did. And we have some numbers to break all of that down. But this stuff keeps coming out, and I just found some sound that's being posted because I do think it connects to the Kings as far as what they should be looking for in a head coach moving forward, whether that's with Doug Christie or somebody else. And it speaks to, I don't want to get on my lawn here, but how the kids are kind of built these days and what level of accountability some of them want and don't want as we look at the national championship last night. And you see college coaches. And when I was coming up, I mean, we got yelled at, man. We would get ripped. And it's starting to feel like maybe the amount of money that's being spent on these players and how these kids are made up, if you will, starting to affect the types of coaches. Feels like maybe we're headed towards a new coaching type where you don't really get yelled at like that, right? And you don't really get held accountable in those same ways. So this is what's floating around right now. This was Mike Malone 2 weeks ago after one of those situations with the Nuggets. He said this in a post game, and it kind of reminded me of how people felt about what Mike Brown said. And I'll let you be the judge on whether or not it was as quote unquote bad as what we heard. Here it is.
It was a brutally honest message, and the guys that are full won't hear it. You know, they'll say coach is tripping. And the guys that maybe do really care will, because they're not going to go back and watch their minutes, because nobody watches their minutes. Nobody watches film. So we'll have to show them the film.
So I don't even really understand that, because when I hear NFL, you have, and I don't know if he means on during your off time or how the setup is between NBA and the NFL, but I don't know if he means additional film or film at all. Are these guys, it just feels like this is just a crazy situation in the NBA now where these players just do whatever they want. The craziest thing about Jokic is he might go down as a top 5 player in the NBA. He has a championship, and nobody ever really has a quote unquote leadership conversation. I'm not saying that Jokic is a good leader or bad, because I don't know, because nobody ever talks about it. But clearly, Mike felt like that team was lacking accountability, and that has nothing to do with the front office. Or he feels like you're bringing people in and you're keeping players that don't really jive with how I want to coach. And maybe
coach is tripping.
And maybe that's why the ownership decided to go in a different direction. But I thought this was pretty eye-opening, because this is about who those players are. And who is he saying is full of bleep? Can Jokic be full of bleep? If you're Jokic, can Mike Malone tell Jokic anything? I don't think it is. Personally, based on what we heard this summer, I feel like it's Jamal Murray. That's what I feel like. That's what I feel like. I don't know that for sure, but we heard some stuff about Jamal Murray and his lack of defense in the summer. So it's hard for me to say that Jokic is connected with anything because of how dang good he is. But it does feel like ownership is deciding, hey, these guys are only going to start making more money. And if I'm paying, and you know how coaches get paid, of course, and they get paid handsomely. At least he's still getting paid. That's why it's a good league. Shout out De'Aaron Fox. But compared to the money that a Wembanyama is going to make, how do you keep these guys accountable? And I know I'm going to get another gray hair as I'm having this conversation, but if Victor Wembanyama, after he signs his extension for $1 billion, doesn't want to watch film, is there going to be an owner that says, hey, to the coach, hey, yeah, you got to make him watch film? No, they're going to say, we're going to find a coach that his philosophy is that Victor Wembanyama doesn't have to watch film. And I think Victor Wembanyama would watch film, so don't get me wrong on that. But it feels like these owners are having to make decisions based on how much money these dudes are making, and they're going to pick these players over coaches, even if these players aren't in the right. We heard it from Desmond Bain. These coaches are not on the court doing anything, but if something isn't working, they're going to have to pick these players that they're paying a ridiculous amount of money to over these coaches. So these kind of older school coaches, even if you've won, it does not make a difference. Go get and I just say Jordan Fernandez because he's younger, but go get the hot young coach that is more of the player's buddy, right? We can get along on stuff versus being the guy who, hey, and you know what? Again, I'm going to sound old, but it's kind of like parenting, right? Parents are completely different now than they were, 20 years ago, than they were 40 years ago, than they were 60 years ago. And that's not to say that some things are wrong and right, but you learn from your situations. There was a time where you just couldn't say anything to your parents. You know, I would get into it with my mom from time to time. I can't believe I'm saying this on air. And you end up winning a conversation or winning a discussion, if you will. And she just says, well, I'm your mom, so you're going to do what I say. There was no real rhyme or reason. I'm mom. So we're going to go here or do this or do that because I say so. Feels like now there are a lot of parents that don't really jive with the because I say so, because they didn't like it growing up. So they want to have conversations with their kids. So they're learning in those regards. So you have a gap between, and think about it. I'm surprised it doesn't come up more often. I don't know how old Michael Malone is, and the Nuggets aren't necessarily young, but they do have some young pieces where it's the way you coached when you were coming up and how you were taught to coach is a lot different. I also deal with this in my job now in radio. There are things, and I won't say what, there are things that I do on this show that when I was coming up, my mentors would say, you're not supposed to do that. You, Allen, I wouldn't do that if I were you. Or historically in radio, you don't do X or you don't do Y. But it's a different day. And I got to keep up with the times. And the way that media is being taken in these days, you have to evolve. So Michael Malone, championship coach, I think he's hilarious. But are there certain things that he does that just doesn't really jive well with the guy that you're paying, a guy that you're paying, or guys that you're paying ridiculous amounts of money to? And these organizations, whether it's the Grizzlies, whether it's the Kings, whether it's the Nuggets, they are having to make tough decisions, and they are not going to choose the coach. That's just never going to happen. It's never going to happen, especially not now with the money that's being thrown around.
Or at the very least, they're never going to choose the coach over the 3-time MVP or franchise players, because the Nuggets are kind of in this weird space where, like, Jamal Murray's been around long enough where he would be considered a franchise player, even though he doesn't have the resume of a traditional franchise player.
Yeah. So that is the situation right now. Crazy, crazy stuff. When we return, it's time to get to what the Kings did last night, still breaking down that incredible performance from Zach LaVine and that crazy performance from DeMar DeRozan. I don't know if they ever had a nickname in Chicago, but we should come up with something now. And how do you feel about the odd man out conversation? No Keegan Murray, no problem. And no Malik Monk, no problem either. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Wednesday night, Kings and Nuggets. Game night with Scott Marsh and the high flyer Henry Turner starts at 5:30. Tip-off at 7.
The Kings play here on Sacktown Sports.
Sacktown Sports, 1140.
Spring has sprung, and now is the best time to spruce up your home. Between spring cleaning and evaluating your home, it is the perfect time to reach out to the folks at the Overhead Door Company of Sacramento. Jason Ross here, and I'm so glad we did. We reached out, and we're now about a month in to our brand new garage doors. Now, first off, we improved our curb appeal. They look great, and it's one of the first things people notice when they approach your home. A new, modern, stylish garage door can improve the overall appearance of your home, just like it did for us. Also, how about this for a nice benefit? The return of investment. A new garage door is high on the return of investment home improvement project list. It's one of the more cost-effective upgrades you can make to improve your home's value. Hey, see for yourself. Check out their products. Go to the showroom at 6756 Franklin Boulevard and ask about the Sacktown Sports Special. Overhead Door Company of Sacramento, the genuine, the original overhead door. Always look for the red ribbon logo.
Save $12,000 off MSRP on new 2025 Silverado 1500 LT at the Maida Chevy Silverado Supercenter after all rebates. And Maida Chevy still has one of the largest selections in the Sacramento area with $12,000 off new Silverado exclusively at the Maida Chevy Silverado Supercenter. Now that's big, huge. See them all at MaidaChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
5 savings. Let's trade in 2011 or newer. Not available with special financing, lease, and some other offers.
Made a great deal at Maida.
What would it take for a plumbing company to earn your trust? Jerry and Kenny here from Bell Brothers. And let's face it, plumbing and service companies don't always have the best reputation.
So to earn your trust, the first thing they'd have to do is actually answer the phone when you call with a real live person. Then they'd have to send a plumber when you needed them, day or night, without charging extra for emergency services.
A trustworthy plumber would show up on time, wearing a clean uniform and name badge, and be able to show that they had passed a background check and drug test.
A plumber you could trust would give you a firm quote on the job before starting and clean up after they finish the job.
That's exactly the plumber you'll get when you call Bell Brothers. A plumber you can trust. Call Bell Brothers right now for all your plumbing needs. Our number is 916-444-1234 or find us online at thenosurpriseguys.com.
The No Surprise Guys, Bell Brothers.
Have you ever dreamed of shopping for the perfect jewelry from home? Well, now it's possible, and you can even build your credit. PrestigiOJewelers.com now offers online shopping, making us the premium credit jeweler nationwide. With an exceptional selection of fine jewelry from engagement rings and gold chains to sparkling diamond earrings and much more. With over 30 years of experience, Prestigio guarantees you'll find exactly what you're looking for. It's fast and easy. Once approved, you'll receive a guaranteed credit line from $400 to $10,000. All you need is to be 18 years or older, have a valid form of ID, be employed for a minimum of 6 months, and a bank account for automatic payments. PrestigioJewelers.com is the perfect way to establish or reestablish your credit with interest rates at only 2.25% per month. We are here to help you with monthly reporting to all major credit bureaus. The perfect jewelry, the perfect price, helping you build perfect credit. Visit us online at PrestigioJewelers.com or at one of our locations in Sacramento, Stockton, Merced, and Fresno. Enter code SACTOWNSPORTS at checkout to save 10%.
Power Business Technology is proud to be a 100% independent, locally owned and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer since 2021. Contact us today for all your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729 or visit us at powercopiers.com.
Are you ready to unlock your business's potential? Hey, I'm Allen Stiles, and you can do that with Roxas Technology Solutions. Their mission is to empower growth through cutting-edge, reliable, and scalable technology. They tailor solutions to enhance efficiency and foster innovation, ensuring your business thrives in the digital age. Located in Sacramento, their dedicated team is ready to partner with you for your long-term success. Transform your business now. Go to roxtech.com. That's WROXTECH.com. Rox Tech. Tomorrow's technology at your fingertips today.
Allen Stiles. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sacktown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sacktown Sports app.
On the text line, we were talking about how people do things differently, right? And your parents, how they handled you growing up might be different to how you handle your kids and how that connects to Michael Malone and him being relieved of his duties. There was a sound clip from 2 weeks ago where he says these guys, some of them are full of bleep. They don't want to watch film, just a lack of accountability. The text line, somebody says from the 916, parents tell kids to do things and then say, because I'm your parent, because a kid is not getting it, does not understand the reasoning. But don't get it twisted. There is a reason. There's not always a reason. A lot of times there's a reason, but there's not always a reason. Sometimes, the reason is, this is just what I want, or this is just how I want you to do things, right? Maybe there is a deeper reason there, but sometimes you just don't feel like answering that. And
they'll say coach is tripping.
Yeah. And no, we're leaving now. And maybe there is a deeper reason, to your point, 916. Sometimes there's not, though. And made me think about Mike Brown, what he said. And Mike Brown, this one, what's funny is when you think about what Mike Brown said, and obviously we have more clips of that compared to Michael Malone, Mike Brown would say straight up situations that happened. We told them, don't let them take a three. They ended up taking a three. We told them to touch the paint. We told them blah, 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 blah. Michael Malone is just saying these dudes, it feels like there was actually more of a disconnect between Michael Malone than with Mike Brown, right? I would say from a bigger picture, it's just I don't really agree with how they're going about things. They don't agree with how I go about things. Mike Brown, it just felt like there was a lack of communication as far as I'm telling them to do something on the court and they're just not doing it. So I don't really know how else to get them to do it. And one thing we've seen so far is that Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan are really doing it. And they're really doing it big in some of the, and it's funny because these are late games. You could maybe question the quote unquote importance because you're playing to keep the 9 seed. You're playing to not fall out of the play. And so we could probably argue the importance, but it's still really nice to see because you're going up against teams that obviously they care about their situation. And I'm even more intrigued as to how tomorrow night will go against the Nuggets, who have a interim coach and no interim GM. So that's going to be interesting. DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine, looking at their numbers, they combined for 80 points in the Kings' third straight win, the 5th time ever that 2 Kings teammates scored 35 or more in a game, second most points by a Kings duo in a game this season. Last time was Fox for 60 with Sabonis for 23. 99 points from the Kings' big three. DeRozan, Sabonis, and LaVine have scored 70% of Kings' points over the last 2 games versus Cleveland and Detroit. The two combined are 16 of 21 as part of a 21-9 run to close out the game. And it was really beautiful to watch, right? Because obviously what Zach LaVine was doing, you're wondering how long is this going to last, and what he missed a 3, and you felt, okay, let's get some other people in the fold with no Malik Monk and no Keegan Murray. Even more so, it's going to be DeMar DeRozan time, and it really felt like DeMar DeRozan just took the torch from Zach LaVine and said, hey, thanks for getting us to that point. I'll close it out for us. And that's really how it has to be. Right. Early on, you're going to need contributions from other guys, but we know when it's money time where the ball is going to go. And it was, I would assume for DeMar, it was very reminiscent of their time in Chicago. And we have some of that sound. Kyle, let me know when we're good to go on DeMar DeRozan post game, just talking about how this is not new to him. He's seen Zach do this before. Here it is.
I just told him to keep going. I was supposed to come in for him. Started the 4th. I told coach just leave him in. He was hot. He led us. Without him getting hot, we wouldn't have got this win that we got. So it was big. It's nothing new for me. I've seen it.
That was DeMar DeRozan talking about Zach LaVine, and it was a perfect tandem. It just felt like the Kings, again, and we've talked about this when they beat the Cavs the first go-round. When you're missing guys, it shouldn't make sense the way it has made sense, but everything is just simple. It's just, well, we know, especially even simpler with no Keegan Murray. Well, we know this is going to have to come from DeMar DeRozan or Zach LaVine. Hopefully they're having a good night. And last night they both were. And I think it was incredibly impressive. Do I totally know what to do with it as far as the play-in is concerned and moving forward and how sustainable it is? Not necessarily. But if they play, again, this is a 2-game sample size. If they get this hot, the way they played against the Cavs, the way they played against the Pistons, even missing dudes, they will beat those 2 teams unless one of those teams ends up being the Nuggets. And they had a chance to beat the Nuggets, a couple of months ago when they ended up blowing that game. So we can see the path. We can see.
Visions are clear now.
Thank you, Paul Atreides. Trey Lyles
clear now.
Trey Lyles had 7. Domantas Sabonis had 19. DeMar DeRozan had 37. 1 of 6 from 3-point range, 8 of 10 from the free throw line. DeMar DeRozan, based on the starter, he had a starter high of a plus 15. Devin Carter played 22 minutes. He was also a plus 15, and they tied for the best plus or minus for the game. Zach LaVine played 45 minutes. 8 of 11 from 3-point range, 43 points. And I would say, Kyle, dare I say it, the most impressive stat from Zach LaVine and Domantas Sabonis last night. Zach LaVine, 1 turnover. Domantas Sabonis, 2 turnovers. If you were to tell me that Zach LaVine, who would probably handle the ball more with Malik Monk out, would only have 1 turnover, and Domantas Sabonis, same idea, only would have 2, I would say the hype train must be rolling then, isn't it? And here we are. Keon was 37 minutes. He had 2 points. 2 points. He had 3
with a
steals.
hand injury.
With the hand injury. 3 steals as well. I mean, that's the type of stuff that does worry me, right? And obviously, Malik Monk only played 6 minutes. But yeah, Keon, he'll have these games where, and to be fair, when DeMar and LaVine are going, it's kind of hard to find your footing. But that does worry me. Doug McDermott got on in there with 3 minutes. Jonas Valanciunas had a real quick double-double there. 13 minutes, had 10 points and 12 rebounds. Isaac Jones sighting, he played. Isaac Jones sighting, he played 4 minutes as well. Malik Monk played those 6 minutes. He had 2 points in those 6 minutes. Devin Carter played 22 minutes at Devin Carter sighting. He was 3 of 8 from the field, 1 of 3 from 3-point range. And that was a very classic game where sometimes plus or minus makes sense, sometimes it doesn't. But it makes sense to me that even though Devin Carter only had 7 points, 1 assist, 1 steal, and 2 rebounds, he was a plus 15. A game high plus 15 along with DeMar DeRozan. Because that's what it looked like. Devin Carter, again, incredibly confusing with what exactly his ceiling is. But when he just gets down and dirty like it's March Madness and he's just pressuring dudes to the ball and he's getting to the cup early on, Kyle, I was really worried about his touch on layups. Feels like that's coming around a little bit more. He's never been afraid to shoot the 3 ball. So I like what I'm seeing. Still no real clue if he's Derek White or not, but we sure do hope he is. But outside of obviously Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan, those Devin Carter minutes were really impressive. And he has games where early on you'll just know whether it's not engaged or not, but whether he's going to be a factor. You can just kind of see it in his eyes. So great stuff from Devin Carter. Great stuff from the whole team, able to get that victory. But with all that being said, the question now is, are we falling for the Kings trap? Are we falling for the trap again, or are we able to enjoy this and not fall for the trap? Let's get into it. The 12 o'clock hour when we return. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Wednesday night, Kings and Nuggets. Game night with Scott Marsh and the high flyer Henry Turner starts at 5:30. Tip-off at 7.
The Kings play here on Sacktown Sports.
Sacktown Sports, 1140.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Coach Doug Christie here for your truck headquarters, reminding you that every deal at Folsom Lake Ford is a slam dunk. Shop all your favorite models on sale now, including America's best-selling truck for over 47 years, Ford F-Series, plus a huge selection of Broncos, Bronco Sports, and all of Ford's award-winning SUVs at FolsomLakeFord.com. Listen, I know a great play when I see one, and if you want to save on a new Ford, you gotta drive the lane straight to Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall. Right now, buy any new Ford with 0 down on approval of credit. Save big with low interest financing, and Folsom Lake Ford always pays top dollar for your trade. So hurry to Folsom Lake Ford, a 6-time Triple Crown winner for sales and service excellence. That's why they're my trusted dealer, and they should be yours too. Tell them Coach Doug Christie sent you, or shop them online at FolsomLakeFord.com.
What if your limited inventory had unlimited potential? What if your biggest risk was not taking one? What if you could make every move matter? Bank of America's Business Solutions can help bring your biggest what-ifs within reach. Find out how our digital tools, cutting-edge insights, and trusted expertise can work for your business. What would you like the power to do? Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank sponsor of FIFA World Cup 2026.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 new lines with autopay for well-qualified customers, plus taxes, fees, and $35 per line connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us, plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
I love this time of year when the azaleas begin to bloom and the singing birds' sweet dawn chorus remind us that blue skies and sunshine are at hand. Hi, this is Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. In sports, the definition for the word master is one who's achieved a high degree of skill, and that will be on display in the highly anticipated golf tournament. In the furniture business, a master is a highly skilled craftsman, an artist even, whose work is coveted by those who appreciate design, quality, and durability. John Keyes was the mastermind of Naturewood Home Furnishings. He knew that you wanted your home to reflect your personal style, whether that was a plain coffee table or a masterpiece for you to enjoy forever. That's why when you walk into Naturewood Home Furnishings, you'll find the largest and best selection of the highest quality home furnishings in Northern California. Masterful. Naturewood Home Furnishings, off Highway 50 at Hazel. Look for the water wheel.
Your old HVAC system could be costing you a fortune in energy bills and repair bills. Right now, Sierra Pacific is offering deep discounts, saving homeowners thousands of dollars. Savings that won't be available later this year. But you must act fast. We have to fill openings in our schedule next week. This limited time offer is only available if you book your installation for next week. Don't wait until it's too late. Call Sierra Pacific and lock in your savings today.
Sierra Pacific Solar Heating and Air, the guys in the big red trucks.
KHD 1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
Sacktown Sports 1140.
LaVine with 8 seconds to go. Heads up the floor, looking for the lead at 5 seconds, at 4 seconds. Tries to get away from Beasley. Jab step, launches for 3. He's got the triple. The Kings on top with 4/10 of a second to go in the third quarter. And the third quarter comes to conclusion with Sacramento leading at 97-94. It's their biggest lead of the night. They end the quarter on a 7-0 push, aided by a successful second challenge.
You're home for Kings Talk and so much more.
Live and local.
Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
So I've been thinking of how I want to lay this out. And I feel like this is the best way to lay it out because obviously when you talk about the play-in specifically, that's going to change how people feel. The play-in is the play-in is the play-in. But when you talk about the playoffs, that's a little bit different. The problem with what I keep saying as far as compartmentalizing is that at some point it's going to connect together. And I think that could happen based on how this ends. So my question is, as we've hit the 12 o'clock hour of the show, 916-339-1140, is would you want to make the playoffs if that meant that Monty McNair would get back to, I guess, really good standing within the organization? As we see other GMs get moved off of, by the way, already seeing Bob Myers possibly connected to that Nuggets job. Earlier on one of his ESPN hits, he said if he was a GM, Jokic would be his first pick. So let's keep an eye out for that. But would you still want to get to the playoffs, get that first round, see what happens against the Thunder? Probably don't get it done, but that would have meant a lot of success and a lot of fun times. Channeling what happened against the Warriors last season. Now let's add on to that. You would have beaten the Mavericks. You would have beaten some version of the Grizzlies, the Timberwolves, the Warriors, the Nuggets, the Clippers, whoever is in that 7-8 spot and loses at that time. And you got to the playoffs. And after that, maybe you win a game, you get playoff basketball in Sacramento. Would you still want that if that meant, hey, Monty McNair is going to keep rocking here? Because as he's told us, his job is to get to the playoffs. So if he gets to the playoffs, I would imagine that ownership would be pretty happy with him, especially after everything that happened. You would lock in Doug. Obviously, Monty McNair has a relationship with Doug, at least to some degree. Mr. Vivek has a relationship with both of them. The assumption that the Kings are going to move off of Monty McNair is connected to the assumption that they weren't going to get to the playoffs. I don't know that I see a world, maybe if they get swept and it's an embarrassing sweep, but I don't know if I see a world where the Kings, who don't make the playoffs very often, to put it nicely, could get to the playoffs and still move on from Monty McNair. Now, expectations are always different depending on who that organization is. Clearly, you look at Calvin Booth and what he's been connected to with the Nuggets, that wasn't good enough. We've seen GMs get moved off of who maybe had a bit more success than Monty McNair. But the question ultimately is, assuming you want to go to the playoffs, because the whole pick conversation, we can mess around with, if they're the 10th seed, they look like they're probably going to be 9. So we will just handle that situation in the offseason. So now that you're here, if I said to you, hey, you want to go to the playoffs at this point? And most Kings fans would say, of course, we're already here. You might as well get to the playoffs. Then if I follow that up by saying, well, if you get to the playoffs, Monty McNair is going to be very comfortable. How would you then feel? Because there seems to have been a bit of a list with a lot of Kings fans. At first, after expectations changed and you move on from Mike Brown and De'Aaron Fox, of course. But at first, it was keeping the pick, right? The other part of this was moving on from Monty McNair and the front office. Well, Wes Wilcox is in Utah right now. So you got him out of there, or he got himself out of there. You lost a assistant coach in Luke Laux. And this is just turning into one of the craziest NBA seasons, not from player positions, but from everything else. So Monty McNair, if he goes to the playoffs, I would imagine everybody in that organization would be very happy for him and very happy with him. So does that change your approach? Let's say you're not going to get the pick anyway. Would you rather miss the playoffs if that meant, hey, we can't mess with any of these conversations that we know Mr. Vivek and Monty might try to have? I can hear them now and hear the quotes. And I want you to help me out. Text line, Sack Chat, call in as well. What are the quotes we will hear right now if they get to the playoffs or if they lose in the second game? Because I got some written down right now. Hey, if they didn't get injured, we could have been a 6 seed. Hey, we're just one piece away. Hey, we really like the momentum we ended the season with. This is all stuff that you hear from teams that are anywhere from 7 to 10 or whatever the case may be. And we understand that the expectations there are not the same as a Boston or an LA or anyone like that. But as much fun as we're having, and as much as I want to enjoy and compartmentalize, I really don't know how I feel personally about the Monty McNair of it all. But I'll tell you this much. If you are in the camp of wanting to move on from this front office, fully move on from this front office, do you want them to win basketball games? And the other part of it is this. The devil you know is better than the devil you don't. We saw what Sam Amick wrote and Vlade being around the organization. What if you say, oh, Allen, I'd rather miss the playoffs to get Monty out of there? Well, who's going to come in next? Do you trust ownership to make the correct decision when Vlade is in LA with Lucas Pops and hanging out with Vivek as well, right there front and center? When you go to a game, you can't miss them. So ultimately, what exactly is it are you willing to sacrifice? Me personally, I like to live my life by the words that my mom and a lot of people have heard these words before. Control the things you can control. And there are so many things out there with this Kings team that we simply don't know. So if you're ever asking me whether or not I'd rather go to the playoffs than the great beyond and the possibilities that I don't even know what it's going to be. Now, if you're saying, oh, if they miss the playoffs and they get Bob Myers, okay, well, that's a different conversation. But that's not it. They can miss the playoffs and keep Monty. They can miss the playoffs and go to Vlade. They can miss the playoffs, and a lot of things could happen. So I think that there probably are a lot of people when I initially started this conversation that would say, I don't want to make the playoffs if that means Monty would be comfortable. But I think I'm also worried that they could find themselves they could convince themselves that they're comfortable either way. That's what also worries me. Again, if we didn't get injured, we could have been a 6 seed. We're just one piece away. We didn't have Jake LaRavia. Domantas Sabonis missed a bunch of games. Keegan Murray now missing games. Malik Monk now missing games. We really like the momentum. Yeah, and I could do it right now. I could do it right now, Kyle. I'm sitting here. I got my vest on as well. Yeah, well, if you look at how we ended the season, that 3-1 stretch that we had, and the Nuggets are a team that we were really competitive with as well. But if you look at what we did against the Hornets in that back-to-back against two really good teams, the Cavaliers, to sweep the Cavaliers after the trade deadline, short-handed, to beat the Detroit Pistons, the best story in basketball, short-handed, missing 2 of our guys. I mean, we really like where we're at, and we feel like if we continue on this path, we're just one piece away. And Lord help us if they do go to the playoffs. Then it's, hey, I'm glad that, what was the quote? I can change the quote to a new one now. I'm glad that getting swept by the Thunder, one of the best teams in the league, isn't good enough now. That'd be Monty's quote. And he wouldn't even necessarily be wrong. And if they win a game and don't get swept, like I said, Vivek's going to be looking like the Cheshire Cat in Alice in Wonderland. So as much as I understand anybody that would say, I'd rather miss the playoffs because I don't feel comfortable with Monty, that would also mean that you have to feel comfortable with whatever could happen next. So if I'm choosing between those memories of me and my kid watching the Kings in the playoffs versus let's miss the playoffs and it'll put us in a quote-unquote better situation on the other side, we don't know what that is. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. So I went back and forth with it, Kyle. I still don't know how I feel about it. And I know initially a lot of people probably don't want to get to the playoffs because the reality is you're not necessarily a threat. But on the other side, at least you would have said that you went because we can't just lock in that everything is going to change if you also miss the playoffs. So either way, if it's going to be sticky, you might as well enjoy some playoff revenue. On the other side, the Kings all but lock up the 9th seed in the Western Conference play-in. We break down some of the playoff and play-in scenarios when we return. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Wednesday night, Kings and Nuggets. Game night with Scott Marsh and the high flyer Henry Turner starts at 5:30. Tip-off at 7.
The Kings play here on Sacktown Sports.
Sacktown Sports, 1140.
It's the final days of the spring sales event. Drive home your new Honda before the deals and the new Hondas disappear. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Looking to own or lease? During the spring sales event, drive a brand new Accord or Civic. Visit us today at folsomlakehonda.com, your one-stop Honda shop.
As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
With 25 award-winning years in Northern California, Ashton & Price is your local injury law firm. Pro attorney tip: if a firm presents as local but they're in LA, red flag. If your first consultation is not with a lawyer, big red flag. At Ashton & Price, your first consult is with a local attorney, and if serious injury prevents travel, a lawyer will come to you. Still not enough? George Washington's my uncle. At Ashton & Price, no red flags, just red, white, and blue.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton and Price.
Allen Stiles
You can join the show by texting 916-339-1140.
on Sacktown Sports.
Taking you up to 2 p.m., which is 5 p.m. for where I am at. Thanks again to Eric Martins. We're going to be doing that once a week and really excited for that coach's show. But I am on East Coast time, just a couple logistical breakdowns for you. Doing the show from PA, from Pennsylvania, out here with the in-laws. That's today, tomorrow, and Thursday. Then I will have the day off as I fly back to California. And we will, once I know who is going to be filling in for me, I will let you know. So that is the breakdown right now. So everybody is aware of what's going on. Kyle, I checked already, and the Kings obviously play on Friday. That's that Clippers game, but we will be able to have some fun with the Nuggets Kings post game. And yeah, we're gonna enjoy that on Thursday.
That's gonna be weird, isn't it?
It's gonna be very weird. Speaking of the Warriors, and I was looking at something during the break, they have that big game tonight, and we'll do some pocket watching against the Suns. And there's a situation where the Warriors could be in the play. And my vision is clear, but like
Visions are clear now.
Like I said, listen, Al Gib, okay? As long as it's not I don't want the Warriors, and I don't want the Nuggets. Anybody else, my vision is clear. Anybody else?
So the vision is clear that the Kings can defeat anyone in the play-in if they play as well as they have the last 2 days, but only if that someone is also the Grizzlies or the Timberwolves or the Clippers.
Yes, or the Clippers. Just not the Nuggets, not the Warriors. No, thank you.
Or maybe the Lakers, because the Lakers could still end up in the play-in.
Follow up with me on the Lakers. I don't know where I'm at with the Lakers quite yet. So
I mean, the Lakers, there's a very good chance they're going to be in the play-in at the end of tonight because they're in that 3 spot right now, but they are presumably sitting everyone tonight.
Follow up with me. Okay, I'm not sure where I'm at yet. Here are some of the updates as we are moving towards the play-in and obviously the postseason, the playoffs. Postseason scenarios as of today. You have the Cleveland Cavaliers, they clinch a number 1 seed in the East with the win. Luckily, they're not playing the Kings since they cannot beat the Kings. The Los Angeles Lakers clinch a playoff spot with a win. So the Lakers would be out of the chat, out of the conversation for the play-in if they win tonight. Los Angeles also will clinch the Pacific Division title with a win and losses by the Clippers and Golden State. Sacramento is locked into the play-in with a Phoenix loss. So, and I don't think anybody would waste it here, but you would make the argument this is the day to root for the Warriors. Now, I don't think people care enough about the play-in to root for the Warriors for the Kings to get into the play-in, but you could probably find a couple people that might do that, and that would push the Suns to a situation where they can't catch the Kings, and that would put them in. And if you're the Warriors as well, they're stuck in a situation where they really have to win that game. So the Warriors really need to win it. The Suns really need to win it, but that hadn't stopped them from losing throughout the whole season. So it feels like we're headed to a celebratory situation, Kyle, where we will be celebrating the fact that the Kings are in the play-in. Some people might not be celebrating it, but they're going to be in it either way. That's kind of where we're headed here. This 3-game winning streak really just kind of solidified that for the Kings. And I mean, to be fair, they're playing some of the best basketball that they've played all season long.
It happened so fast, right? Was it Friday's show when we first introduced the concept of the magic numbers and how the Mavericks were at 4 and the Kings were at 6? Magic numbers 1 now. Happened so fast. A perfect weekend. Everyone lost. The Kings won both games. They went 3-0 if you count the Pistons game. Just a perfect weekend for the Kings. And now the magic number's down to 1. And even if it doesn't happen tonight, it's going to happen. It's essentially an inevitability at this point. They're going to be in the play-in. If our fun playoff probability report says 90% chance they're going to end up as the 9 seed with an 88% chance that it's going to be Kings versus Mavericks in that 9-10 game. So I've been telling you for 4 weeks that this is going to happen. There's no point in rooting for them to fall off because they're going to be the 9 seed. And now we just have that confirmation.
Yeah, but you didn't see this 3-game winning streak. So you cannot say that.
Allen.
The visions are clear.
No,
Look,
it's my visions. It's not your visions.
I've been saying there's a chance they could have gone to 10. But have I not been saying the entire time the chances of them falling out completely are slim to none?
Yeah, 1.6.
The entire time, I have never wavered.
The 1.6, I think that's what Skip Bayless averaged in high school basketball. I'm reading some of these texts here as we had a fun conversation to kick off the hour just about what exactly you want out of this Kings season, and would you still want to make the playoffs if Monty McNair became very safe, right? And if it felt like he was going to return. So these are, and I had to double check that these are different numbers as well. And, so it's different people, a lot of people chiming in here. And the 916 says, Stiles, all the talking points that you said are not bad points. Play devil's advocate. Why should we tear this team down? Another 916. I know you're saying all of this to make fun of the justifications, but that doesn't mean they're not true. Injuries, team drama, they all affect the season. I know Monty has a lot to answer for, but God help us if they move on and bring back Vlade. And a couple other people chiming in the same way. I'm not saying to blow it up. We, for majority of this season, we've taken calls, we've read texts, and the feeling has been more so that they need to blow it up. I would say if I were to poll a lot of our listeners, it feels more so that a lot of people wanted to blow it up. Okay. Now they've won a couple games and we feel good about it. And when I say blow it up, you can't get rid of everybody, right? Maybe to be more clear, it's, hey, is everybody on the table? Should DeMar DeRozan, and honestly, when we say blow it up, would you agree, Kyle, that saying blow it up deep down means Domantas Sabonis? Would you make that argument?
I think blowing it up would be putting a hard deadline on Sabonis, which would essentially be we're going to trade him before training camp. Yes.
Yeah. So basically, when I say blow it up, I mean, DeMar DeRozan, like I said, Zach LaVine, if he keeps playing like this, somebody might want to come get him. But DeMar DeRozan, we understand he probably won't be here next season. When it comes to who else is maybe on the chopping block or who else could be interested in moving on, as we've heard about Domantas Sabonis, really, to me, it comes down to, well, what do you want to do with Domantas Sabonis? That's how I view the quote unquote blow up conversation. So if a lot of you want to retool and say, hey, and some of it might hurt. Now it feels like it was just yesterday. Malik Monk was everybody's favorite player. He's my favorite player. Now Malik Monk is the odd man out. I think the reason that Malik would probably be safe is because of DeMar DeRozan. If DeMar DeRozan changes his mind, and that's really just based on assumption, if DeMar DeRozan decides that he likes playing with Zach LaVine and he wants to stay out here and he likes Doug and he likes being quote unquote home, even though he's 6 hours away, then you have to make that decision. The reason I feel like Malik Monk has always been safe is because we know the three of them can't play together in Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, and Malik Monk. Assuming DeMar DeRozan wants out, then there's only two of them. But if DeMar DeRozan doesn't want out, yeah, I think this thing could get sticky, and that would not be a blow-up situation. That would be, hey, we don't really need another scoring guard like Malik because we have Zach and DeMar. Let's go and get a pure point guard. Let's go and get another wing if we have to move off of Jake LaRavia. So if you want to retool it, anybody can retool it. It just felt like majority of this season when everything, and maybe that was more so when the pick was still a possibility and fans kind of felt like that. But if you want to retool and you're okay with Monty McNair doing that retooling, then let's go to the playoffs and let's have some fun, baby. Let's have some fun. On the other side, we continue to have fun right here on this show. And we ask the question, what is the ceiling of this Sacramento Kings team? Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Wednesday night, Kings and Nuggets. Game night with Scott Marsh and the high flyer Henry Turner starts at 5:30. Tip-off at 7.
The Kings play here on Sacktown Sports.
Sacktown Sports, 1140.
It's what you wait for all week. The three-pointers, the rebounds, the thrill of every shot. Win or lose, it's the hope that keeps you coming back. The dream that this time, it might be your year. And so you represent with anticipation and with pride. Because when the pressure's on, your support is everything. That's why the NBA Store is here to support you. Check out the largest selection of official NBA gear at NBAstore.com. a fanatics experience.
Power Business Technology is proud to be a 100% independent, locally owned and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer since 2021. Contact us today for all your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729, or visit us at powercopiers.com.
Hey everybody, it's your boy Kyle Draper. You know, I still remember the first car I ever owned. It was sweet. It was cherry red, but it didn't quite run the way that I wanted. It would make a funny sound like something like that when I was driving, and eventually I had to get rid of it. But I tell you what, I wish I knew the fine people at Mercedes-Benz of Stockton back then. You know, their service department is first class, and they accept most extended warranties no matter where you purchase your vehicle. Their service department, those technicians out there, they're super experienced, more than 224 years. Plus, they treat you fairly. The price is fair. They treat you like your family. So schedule your service today at Mercedes-Benz of Stockton. It's just a short drive right off I-5. Or, of course, you can go online anytime at mbfstockton.com to schedule your service today. And tell them Drape sent you.
Sacramento's premier country music festival, Country in the Park, is coming back May 16th and 17th at Cal Expo with Bailey Zimmerman, Billy Currington, Cole Wetzel, Nate Smith, and more. You'll enjoy food trucks, rock walls, and a mechanical bull, line dancing, and more. Single-day GA tickets start at $52 at CITPFest.com. Country in the Park, May 16th and 17th with Rox Tech, Michelob Ultra, and Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. More info at CITPFest.com.
The hot weather is coming. Is your HVAC system ready for it? Let Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating make sure it is. Get to Lee'sAirPlumbingandHeating.com. Check out their $99 HVAC tune-up special. And let me tell you why Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating is the way to go. They took care of me when our heater collapsed over the winter, and Lee's set us up with a great new HVAC system that is providing comfort, value, and quality. Let Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating take care of you. License number 635355.
Spring is in the air, and there's really nothing better than hitting the open road in a new Honda. Whether you're shopping for new or pre-owned, Stockton Honda has the selection and savings. Plus, get top dollar for your trade. And while life's roads are often filled with bumps, buying from Stockton Honda couldn't be smoother. Wherever the road you travel might lead, Stockton Honda is happy to get you there. Come in today or go to StocktonHonda.com.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
At SMUD, we power local business with incentives on clean energy equipment, tools to manage electricity usage and save money, tailored solutions from dedicated strategic account advisors, and 50% lower rates than neighboring utilities, all while doing more for the planet with clean energy solutions, savings, reliability, personalized service, clean energy, helping local businesses thrive. That's our clean power promise. Learn more at smud.org.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, the ultimate lunch lineup boasts wall-to-wall sports and scenic views. When you're hungry and in a hurry, the Scratch Kitchen delivers lunch in the clutch. I mean, where else can you order a 29-degree draft beer and a quickie combo on your lunch break? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Twin Peaks Scratch Kitchen scores every time. Dig into hand-smashed burgers, chef-inspired flatbreads, and more at your local lodge.
You're home for Kings Talk and so much more.
Live and local.
Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
Taking you up to 2 p.m. Allen Stiles here.
Allen Stiles.
I wasn't sure whether you were going to do it or not.
Yeah, we got to train you. It's like going to boarding school. We got to train you to stop saying your name after the rejoiner says your name.
My percentage is way lower than it was about three months ago. Okay.
And lower being better in this situation?
That's right.
Yes, you have gotten better, but you know, at the beginning you were doing it every segment because we didn't have those fun rejoiners that say
Allen Style.
Sacktown Sports. I'm reading the text line here, and a lot of people are still chiming in And 916 saying, blowing it up is insane. I've said this, win or lose all season. Sure, make moves to improve, but a full rebuild will cripple the team for years. Also talking about building around Delmas and LaVine and some of the friendly contracts that the Kings have. Others are saying, and I think this is an interesting way to look at it from the 530. Allen, we just saw a 4 seed dump their coach and GM, an 8 seed dump a coach right before the playoffs. You are saying Monty is safe if he makes a play-in. That is a problem with the Kings and its owner. We should fire Monty, hire Bob Myers, and get out of his way. Joe from the 530. And let's be clear, Joe. I'm not saying that Monty McNair did a good enough job. And I think you understand that. It doesn't matter whether I think Monty McNair has done a good job or not. I don't pay Monty McNair. We know who pays Monty McNair. And based on what we know their goals to be, if Monty McNair and this team gets to the playoffs, I just don't see a world where they move on from them. I don't. I mean, if you look at the numbers, it doesn't make the least amount of sense in the world. This is a team that they were doing this summer. The Drive guys did what? What was it? 100, 150 Kings players. And
it's 40.
It was 40. And they
150 is crazy.
Right. Well, sometimes it sounded like it. And
at 150, we have John Salmons.
That's right. And even some of them, it felt like, hey, yeah, this guy is going to get on the list. And really, this is more of a testament to the success that the Kings have not had so far. So if you pull this off, I don't see how they move on. Now, Joe from the 530, I'm not saying they shouldn't move on. I'm just saying I'm not sure how they would. Louis, who likes to call in and boo Kyle, says that he wants to boo me right now because my Bay Area roots are showing. He says, Stiles, this is Louis. You done got me heated, bruh. Give me the dang Warriors. I ain't worried about them. I'd boo you so loud if I can call in right now. Come on. Your Bay Area roots are showing. LOL, JK, all love. That's from Louis. I'm sorry, Louis. I don't want to see them in the play-in. My vision, look, it's not me. When I get these visions.
The visions are clear now.
When I get these visions, I share them with you. The visions that I saw last night did not include the Golden State Warriors or the Denver Nuggets. I'm sorry. Those visions are not visions that I want.
Louis, more like Louis, am I right?
I told you who I'm clear on. All right? It's not my fault. I'm trying to help the situation as we discuss the ceiling of this team. And going back to the game last night, crazy game from between Florida and Houston, by the way, felt gutted for Houston. But this is exactly why March Madness is imperfect. Any of the 10 teams, I would say, I don't know if I want to include the Mavericks or not, but I won't be disrespectful. Any of the 10 teams in the West could beat one another in a one-game playoff. So as much as I want to sit here and talk about the ceiling of this team and say the Kings can do X, Y, or Z, you could also say that about any of them. The one difference is between the Kings and some of these other teams, I would say, is the elite shot making. We all know, if you've been watching playoff basketball, that you don't typically have as much space and spacing as you do throughout the regular season. There are a lot of reasons for that. Number one, more teams, every team is playing their guys, right? There's no load management. There's nothing like that. Second reason is, with that being said, some players load manage on the court, right? Everybody is giving 110, 120% offensively and defensively. The third reason, the refs, how they ref those games, it is well documented. It's completely different than the regular season, which changes how people approach these things. So with all that being said, if you're able to score and score in situations where there's not a lot of space in between you and the defender, or you didn't get your first look in the offensive set, you didn't get your second look on the offensive set, maybe you have to get your third look on that offensive set. And the third look in your offensive set is one Keegan Murray. That's something a lot of other teams don't have. So I do feel like all of these teams can beat each other up in a one-game sample size. But at the same time, I do feel a little bit more confident about the Kings because of their ability to shoot at a high level. Now, some of these teams aren't going to be in the play-in. I would take the Kings, and this is not to sound disrespectful, if the Rockets, and the problem is the Kings don't really play defense, but the Rockets do not have elite shot makers outside of Jalen Green. Fred VanVleet is supposed to be one, but I don't even know if he's playing right now because I never know when Fred VanVleet's playing. So you have a team like that. You have a team like the Grizzlies, who we might see them in the play-in. They have a complete team, but when you talk about elite shot making, they don't have it either. That's something that the Kings have. Now, are they going to be able to take care of the basketball enough and defend the basketball enough and defend the three-point line enough to give themselves a chance? That's what we'll ultimately see. But in these play-in scenarios, and why I keep saying that the Kings are turning into the most dangerous team in the play-in, and I know everybody's tired of hearing that term, but that's just who they are. Outside of if the Nuggets fall into the play-in or the Warriors are a team like that,
the visions are clear now.
I'm taking the Kings. Not because they're winning these games and I'm getting caught up in the fact that they're winning these games. We have said from day one on this show, the way the Kings score the basketball, definitely not the way they defend the basketball, but the way the Kings score the basketball is kind of set up perfectly for playoff basketball. And you know what? It's completely different to the Beam team. That Beam team is a carbon copy of the type of basketball that does not really work in the playoffs. Oh, there's nobody around Keegan and nobody knows who he is. Here's an open shot. Oh, De'Aaron Fox is getting into transition because he stole the basketball. Oh, Domantas Sabonis has 27 rebounds. That type of stuff doesn't fly the same way in the playoffs. They are better set up now. And you lose De'Aaron Fox, who is somebody who likes to play fast, but the playoffs don't play that fast. You also need guys that can shoot and shoot tough shots. So I'm not saying the Kings are going to make any noise or be the dark horse or be the sexy pick. I'm not saying any of that past the play-in. But this team that we're seeing that is learning that their identity is really just to not have an identity and to just go out there and hoop. Their identity is we're just some hoopers. And Domantas Sabonis is just going to grind. And Keegan Murray is just going to grind. And DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine are going to get buckets. And we're not really going to defend, but hopefully we score enough to stop you that way. But we do have some good defenders. And just when you think that we don't have any good defenders, we're going to hit you with the Jake LaRavia. We're going to hit you with the Keon Ellis. We're going to hit you with the Devin Carter. We're going to hit you with the Keegan Murray. So in these spots, their team defense is not good enough. But as much as basketball is a team sport, you start to see individuals shine in March Madness. You also see individuals start to shine in the NBA playoffs. And the Kings individually can plug some of the holes that we see throughout the course of a regular season. And that is why they were going to be the best 10 seed to ever play in the history of the NBA. Now, they're a top 9 seed as of right now. We'll see where it ends. And when you look at what Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan can do, and why there are people on this text line right now that do not want to blow this team up now, let's see if this can carry over into the playoffs. It is very different to what we've seen in the past. Those high-flying offenses, I'd even put the Lakers in this category now without AD. You're not throwing full court passes to LeBron every other possession in the playoffs. You're not doing it. So will they get there? I don't know. But they do have the requisite pieces to fit this thing together and to get out of the plan. And that's where I'm stopping here. I'm not trying to go crazy, but to get out of the play-in, you could put those shot makers up with anyone else's offense right now between 7 to 10. On the other side, we continue breaking all of this down. An update on the Malik Monk situation. Still no update on his status tomorrow, but we are going to continue to see where that could lead and what this would mean if the Kings do make the playoffs and whether or not that changes how you view them and view their future. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Time to check out Capital Casino, conveniently located at 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sacktown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sacktown Sports app.
I'm Ken Korak with your Green and Gold Report, brought to you by Comcast Business, powering possibilities. Well, for the A's to have any chance of contending this year, it will start with starting pitching. And besides the tough outing by Joey Estes in the home opener, and looking back at the Seattle series and led by offseason acquisitions Luis Severino and Jeffrey Springs, the A's starters went 23 2/3 innings. They allowed just 14 hits and 3 earned runs. Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business with reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, advanced fiber solution, and Wi-Fi backup. Comcast Business helps turn today's small businesses into engines of modern business. For details on special offers, including free professional installation and up to a $500 Visa prepaid card on qualifying internet bundles, log on to business.comcast.com. Comcast Business, powering possibility.
It's the final days of the spring sales event. Drive home your new Honda before the deals and the new Hondas disappear. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Looking to own or lease? During the spring sales event, drive a brand new Accord or Civic. Visit us today at folsomlakehonda.com, your one-stop Honda shop.
As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our number one priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
We just want to have enough money for retirement.
And travel to visit our grandchildren.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we start by getting to know each other so I can learn about your family, lifestyle, goals, and needs, allowing us to tailor your portfolio.
What about commission-based products?
We don't sell those. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in your best interest.
So how do your management fees work?
We have a simple management fee based on the value of your portfolio. So we do better when you do better.
We appreciate that kind of transparency.
We also check in with you regularly to keep you up to date on the markets and your portfolio.
What other services do you offer?
As a client, you have access to resources on investing, financial planning, estate planning, Social Security, Medicare, and more.
Wow, it sounds like Fisher Investments has everything we need.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Hey, get in. What? Who are you? I'm future you. Constipation with belly pain still coming back? Yeah. Mia, our doctor figured it out. She said it's irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C, and Linzess could help you get ahead of it.
Linzess linaclotide is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Talk to your doctor and say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
Progressive knows if you have to choose between everyday life and your boat, boat wins.
What are you going to do? Take a boat out for a spin or go mail something? Boat wins! Are we cleaning the patio or taking the boat out fishing? Boat wins! Are we skipping that eye exam to go sailing? Boat wins!
Rescheduling eye exams can be a nightmare.
All right, fine. Eye exam, then boat. Yeah!
With Progressive, you can bundle your boat with your home or auto and save with a discount and spend more time enjoying those savings on your boat. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states and situations.
Listen up, fellow Gen Xers. Elizabeth Banks here. The recommended age for pneumococcal pneumonia vaccination has been lowered to 50 and older, even if you're healthy. It's up to us to lead the way. We've done this before. Music videos, fanny packs, even the World Wide Web. Let's do it again and get vaccinated, because we're at over 6 times greater risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Gen X, this is our shot. Visit vaxassist.com and schedule a vaccine today. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Allen Stiles
You can join the show by texting 916-339-1140
on Sacktown Sports.
Kyle got a call message from Ken. Ken said, keep talking positive talk because the Kings are the most dangerous team in the play-in. You know, I do think that using those words is interesting because Aaron on the Sack Chat says, I hope the team itself doesn't develop that mentality of being the most dangerous team because that's a recipe for overconfidence. And I do think that the Kings have suffered from that, right? I mean, not to do the take this W and subtract this loss thing, but do the Kings beat the Cavs and the Pistons back-to-back if they had beaten the Wizards? I feel like for the last couple years, doesn't matter who's the number one option, doesn't matter who's the coach, but these Kings just have not been able to create that urgency, and losing to the Wizards created that urgency. So with that being said, I think I do agree with Aaron, even though I think that they're the most dangerous team in the play-in, they cannot start to feel like that, because when they start to feel like that, that's when they start messing around, rolling the ball out, and will lose to the Mavericks and tick all of us off again. That's exactly what would happen.
I know there's only 3 games on the win streak, and obviously you look for where they were 3 games ago to now. There's been such a difference, but how much can really change in 3 games? I mean, Zach LaVine, we have the sound if we want it too. He talked about we're already treating these games like they're play-in situations.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're already looking at it like postseason basketball begins today, then I don't know how much can really change in that sense in the next, call it 7 days, as long as unless it's a mindset change.
I don't know, man. Well, number one, I feel like there's no way on God's green earth they approached that Wizards game like it was a play-in game, or we would have a lot, or any of the Blazers, the Magic, any of those games. You could make the argument like the Pacers. It was a tough ending, but they brought the requisite intensity. They just weren't able to do it. But if they win out, I do agree that there could be because that's when people will start talking about them. Let's say they won out and they won 6 straight games, then it would be watch out for the Kings. And I'm with you. I'm with both of you, because Doug Christie to me is the type of guy who should be able to prevent that, but he ain't on the court. As we always say here, he's not taking any shots. He's not defending anybody. So they win, and I'm not saying I hope they lose a couple games to keep their hunger, but yeah, if they went into it's funny to feel like this, because you would think that should make them even more confident. But if they won 6 straight, I think that it could actually not benefit them, just based on what we've seen from this team.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see what the next 2 weeks, or not 2 weeks, call it 6 days essentially has in store for the Western Conference, because as weird as it sounds, the play-in starts 7 days from today. The Kings won't be in that first game, but the play-in round begins in 7 days, which also makes it even more crazy that Mike Malone just got fired. But at the same time, like, there's basically a week away. The seeding is essentially set. The Kings are probably going to be the 9. The Mavericks are probably going to be the 10, barring Dallas beating the Lakers tomorrow and going on a run themselves. I guess at that point you feel like you know your fate, you know what is on the line, and everything that's been going on the last 18 games has been building up to these two. And Doug said it. We played the sound last week in an honest moment. Like, there's some guys that have been coasting going into the play-in. I know he didn't use those exact words, but essentially he's like, after the Wizards loss, I don't know if some guys feel like they want to coast, and maybe some of that was happening, and maybe now is kind of that moment where you essentially flip the switch, or at least have 5 games to begin flipping the switch. And part of that is probably based on how many minutes these guys are playing as well. You're starting to see them shorten those rotations.
Kyle, I'm telling you right now, and it wouldn't even have to be 6. It wouldn't even have to be 6-0. If the Kings, who just beat the Hornets, obviously, but if the Kings go 5-1, it doesn't even have to be undefeated. If they go 5-1 and they beat the Cavs, the Pistons, the Nuggets, and the Suns, let's say they lose to the Clippers. If they go 5-1 and they beat the Nuggets, they beat the Cavs, they beat the Pistons, I would be definitely worried that they feel like they can just roll the ball out against the Mavericks. If this was a 7-8 game, I don't know that I'd be as worried. But they would sit there and basically feel like there's not much we have to do. I mean, look who we just beat. It's the Mavericks.
Well, I understand those concerns, but also, like, we're doing that. We've been doing that, saying that
we're not playing.
Sure, but like, that fear is understandable, and of course, you want to believe the mindset of, yes, they are professionals. They know the season's on the line. That they know that it's one game and you have to play your best. I get all that stuff. We can say that 1,000 times over, and that's fine. But there's nothing I can give you definitively to dispel those concerns that, yeah, maybe they will just kind of roll the ball out against Dallas and then look up and all of a sudden they're down 35-22 at the end of the first quarter. And we're like, oh my God, what's happening? That could totally happen. Just like it could totally happen that the Kings are up by 10 points at the end of the first quarter against the Mavericks. And they could lose 6 games in a row going into the play-in, or they could win 6 games in a row going into the play-in. And I think both of those would still be just as equally possible outcomes.
I'm just thinking back on some of the conversations when the Kings lost to the Wizards. Some of them were had on this show, but not to this level, where there were people that honestly felt like the Kings were not going to win another game. There were a lot of people that thought that the Kings were just going to go winless because you were still staring. I think they said, obviously, they would beat the Hornets. But after that Hornets game, the Kings were going to lose every single game to end the season. And we did have that conversation on the show, how they could still end up in the play-in and lose every single game. And here we are a week later. And this is who the Kings have been. And here we are a week later, after the Kings have beat the Cavs and the Pistons on a 3-game winning streak, back-to-back situation with no Keegan Murray, and Malik Monk was out too. By the way, we keep checking, and Malik Monk out with that calf injury. We keep checking, but no update so far from Malik. Maybe there'll be one during the drive, guys, but no update. You know, those calf injuries always scare me personally because of all those connective tissues and whatever you want to call it. Just kind of a rough go for Malik this season. We spent a lot of time on Malik yesterday. People want us to talk more about him today, and we'll do that in the 1:00 hour, but just kind of a rough go. And everything that we're talking about as far as rolling the ball out, I'm not willing to say that I would rather have the Kings play that play-in game without one of those 3, being Zach LaVine, DeRozan, or Malik. But what I am saying is whenever Malik returns, they need to stick to just understanding that one of those guys is going to have to sacrifice. They are just too redundant. And if that has to be Malik Monk because Zach and DeMar are on heaters, then so be it. But if he is ready, I would never, ever, ever say that the Kings are better off without him, but they cannot continue to do what they did. Because last night, a lot of people wanted to talk about the Keon Ellis thing. But Keon Ellis was starting and they were still losing games. So there still had to be a philosophy change on top of the fact that that Malik wasn't in the starting lineup. So that philosophy change, which has really just been Malik turning into that collateral damage, that's still all there. So regardless of whether Malik, and I hope he's ready, you know, he deserves to be in that game, but they have to stick to what has been working. And maybe it's Malik instead of Zach LaVine in one of those games because Malik is the hot hand. But this kind of jack of all trades situation that they've been trying to do feels like they said, we can't afford to take chances and try things out anymore. Zach, just shoot, man. Just shoot. And DeMar, we don't got to tell you to shoot, but you keep shooting too. And that's what's been working for them. Speaking of Zach LaVine, let's get back to how well Zach LaVine has been playing and what exactly can we expect from this guy moving forward, possibly in the play-in and in the playoffs. And there's one thing that he can do to make us feel good about it either way. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
Bring the whole family to Sutter Health Park for Sacramento River Cats baseball. It's more than a game. It's an experience your kids will never forget. Enjoy exciting action on the field, delicious ballpark food, and fun activities for all ages. From meeting Dinger the mascot to running the bases every Sunday, there's something for everyone. Create lasting memories with your family this season. Get your tickets at rivercats.com.
Unlock your business's potential with Rocket Technology Solutions. Their mission is to empower growth through cutting-edge, reliable, and scalable technology. They tailor solutions to enhance efficiency and foster innovation, ensuring your business thrives in the digital age. Located in Sacramento, their dedicated team is ready to partner with you for your long-term success. Transform your business now. Go to roxtech.com. That's WROXTECH.com. Rox Tech, tomorrow's technology at your fingertips today.
Whoa, it's you, the Capital One Bank guy.
That's what they call me.
Mind if I get a selfie?
Yeah, sure thing. Save no fees or minimums on your Capital One checking account.
Wow, that's a keeper. So, where are you heading?
I'm off to spread the good news that Capital One helps people keep more money in their wallet with no overdraft fees.
Oh, you're the best Capital One Bank guy.
Hey, mind if I get a selfie?
Sure.
Say, Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular to get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Hey, what's up, Sacramento? It's Kyle Draper. Turn up the cleanliness at your restaurant, healthcare, or industrial business with Alsco Uniforms, the official sponsor of the Sacramento Kings Mop Crew. We've got you covered with crisp uniforms, hygienically clean linens, floor mats, and, of course, mops delivered weekly. But that's not all. Alsco Uniforms also offers weekly services for first aid and restroom supplies. Discover why it pays to keep clean with Alsco Uniforms. Just go to alsco.com to learn more. Again, that's ALSCO.com.
Power Business Technology is proud to be a 100% independent, locally owned and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer since 2021. Contact us today for all your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729. Or visit us at powercopiers.com.
Sacramento. Sacramento Kings basketball.
The Sacramento Kings have moved and pulled off the improbable.
The run to the playoffs.
Here's a steal by Kia. Career high 6. Breakaway. Hammer time.
On Sacktown Sports 1140.
I'm sorry, it's LaVine who takes the feed now. He goes in the left corner. LaVine now perimeter almost straight away. Launches. He scores the triple. It's the 8th one in 11 attempts. He's got 41 points in the building where he scored his career high of 51. That was in October of last season.
Your home for Kings talk and so much more.
Live and local.
Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
Listening to G-Man on that call, it's another reminder that Zach might be quite the fit out here in Sacramento, because very similar to the Kings, Zach likes what he likes, right? He has some crazy situations where if there's a team that he's played well against, he's almost always going to play well against them. And that's what happened last night against the Pistons. And, you know, to go out there and drop 43 points, it was incredibly impressive the way he did it. I was watching the game, and I heard a little bit of G-Man, but also had to go to our guy, Kyle Draper. And he was just stunned. We were all just stunned watching that. And the way he shoots, it's with so much ease. Yesterday, we talked about guys that make the game look easy. And Zach LaVine makes the game look incredibly easy. He's continued to do that. And I think he's really confusing Kyle just as far as where he fits, right? We love the collective sports community. We love to put guys in boxes. And you're either a star or a bust or a star or a rotation player. And Zach LaVine is kind of like one of those guys that is closer to star than rotation player, but as of right now would not be in any of those conversations. He's had some highs in his career, what he did in Minnesota, winning the slam dunk contest and things like that. Then the injuries kind of derailed him. Maybe we'd look at him differently because of the injuries. And due to the injuries, I think it makes it even harder to evaluate exactly what Zach LaVine is. If we start reading off names, if I say who's better, Zach LaVine or CJ McCollum, I mean, the answer I think most people would say is Zach LaVine, but then you throw the money into the conversation. A lot of people would say, hey, well, you're kind of paying him to be a bit better than he has been. And a lot of that is due to injury. If Zach LaVine, let's not get it twisted. If Zach LaVine had played how he played against the Bulls for a whole season, or those seasons where he was injured in Chicago, nobody is having the worst contract in the league conversation. A lot of it, at one point, they said Klay Thompson had the worst contract in the NBA because the Warriors signed him right when he had one of his really bad injuries, then had another one. So Zach LaVine and the contract conversation has really more so been about the fact that he got injured and just literally wasn't able to show that he was worth that. But he's really, really hard to evaluate. And you throw out other names in the league right now, it's so hard to do without the money and the contract conversation. I got to look up what, and obviously there's age involved. I got to look up what Brandon Ingram is making right now. But I'm thinking if you have that tier, because if De'Aaron Fox is a tier 2 star, is Zach LaVine, Brandon Ingram, DeJounte Murray, do those names kind of ring the same way to you, or are you putting LaVine above or below them?
So here's my opinion about Zach LaVine. And by the way, do you remember that that Ringer Top 100 Players thing that we did?
Didn't you say he was 40 something?
He was in the 50s, but they update it every month. So they just came out with one on the 27th. So we can look at that afterwards too. But before we do that, here's kind of my opinion on Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine is in the tier of play, obviously different positions, but he's in the tier of player like Markkanen and Kristaps Porzingis, Austin Reeves.
Yeah.
You could say CJ McCollum, and that's this. If they're your number one, you're not going to make the playoffs. If he's your number two, you're a play-in team. If he's your number three, you're probably a playoff team, maybe win a series, go to a conference finals, depending on how good your number one is. And if he's your number four, we're talking championship level good. That's kind of my thought of what player Zach LaVine is, if that makes sense.
No, I think that makes sense. I think that makes sense. It's just a level of, hey, you're going to need others to help as well. And we kind of understand that. Looking at what Zach LaVine has done over the last two games, 80 points, 31 of 49 from the field, good for 63%, 15 of 22 from three-point range, good for 68%, which is insane, by the way. Fourth quarters alone, he has 32 points, 10 of 11, 91% from the field, 8 of 9 from three-point range, good for 89%. By the way, 91% from the field. Games with 7 or more three-pointers made in his Kings career. First 27 games, he had 2. The last 36 hours, he also had 2. And we have some sound from Zach LaVine right here. LaVine on treating each game like it's a playoff game. Here it is.
We're trying to treat each one of them like it is, damn near a playing game or playoff game, to get ourselves ready and geared up to where now it's, when we get there, it's not going to be anything new to us. Starting from the jump, we've had some ups and downs since All-Star break, but I think we're hitting our stride when we need to.
There you go. That was Zach LaVine. And, for me, when I watch him play, it's just smooth, man. And sometimes, and I've gotten on him, there was that game where things weren't going in the right direction. There was a loose ball. I actually think it was against the Warriors because Buddy Hield got that loose ball and he didn't dive on the ground. I can still have some issues with that, but my issues are a lot less when you're at the very least scoring the basketball, if that's what you're there to do. There was a time when we really couldn't see much from Zach in either regard, but we're seeing a lot more of that now. And I don't know if a conversation was had with the team, but it does feel like there was a level of, hey guys, we need Zach to get going because we're kind of going to go as far as he takes us. We know what Malik Monk is, and we know what DeMar DeRozan is, and we know what Domantas Sabonis is. This is kind of the X factor. This is kind of the unknown variable that we traded for and we're excited for, and we don't know how good we can be based on what level of Zach we're going to have. I think that when they made that deal initially, you're always going to assume the best. And it was, hey, if we get this Zach LaVine and the best version of everyone, which is kind of what the Kings got that Beam Team season. You got the best version out of essentially everyone in your rotation. Maybe we could do something. Again, as we continue to bring this up, a lot of these guys don't like being traded around the trade deadline. There's not a lot of time to figure things out. They got families. Zach had just had a kid. Their families can't always move with them immediately. So there is a reason that these guys don't necessarily like being moved. And it was going to take time, and the injuries happened. And if you look at where the Kings are now, and you look at the actual timelines, these timelines really aren't that crazy. It is not crazy to think that based on if we were to do this the way we've done it with Doug and with Devin Carter, in our mind, if you're looking at this from a full season perspective, that was February. So we're in basically the third month of this. So this is the equivalent of it being December or January with these guys together on top of
if we're talking about opening season to now, it would be December 17th.
Yeah. So obviously that doesn't make you feel good when they're losing to the Wizards, but this is what can happen when you make decisions like this and you trade for who you trade for. Will there be enough to have a little mini playoff run? Maybe, possibly, but we always knew that this time was going to be a crunch, was going to be a time crunch. And at least we're seeing something from Zach that at the very least, when you look at that contract and how you probably weren't going to be able to move off of him, at least you can say, hey, going into next season, you got Sabonis, you got to convince him, right? Or whatever happens there with that conversation, but you got Sabonis, you got LaVine, you figure out things with Keegan Murray. You have pieces, like you said, Kyle, he can't be your number one guy. And I think that's kind of the issue right now. He is your number one guy, but you can work around the other option when you don't have a pure number one guy is to surround them with other top 30, I'd say more 30 than 40, but top guys in the league, which is kind of what the Kings have tried to do.
Yeah, and here's kind of the interesting, devil's advocate case for running it back with making some small tinkers is that I say if Zach LaVine is your number 3, you're a solidified playoff team. There is a world where they come back next year and Zach LaVine is that number 3. We talked about the Ja Morant situation last week. If they bring in a Ja Morant, you've got your Sabonis, you've got your Ja Morant, you've got your Zach LaVine. Let's go see what's going to happen. Now, right now, do I think Zach LaVine is a better player than DeMar DeRozan? I think he has a higher ceiling than DeMar DeRozan, but he doesn't always play like he is a better player than DeMar DeRozan. And that's questions they've got to ask themselves in the offseason. Is Zach LaVine going to be our number 2 going into next year? And if so, how high of a ceiling does that team actually have?
Well, and how in the world are you going to how do you get that number 1? And that goes back to the contract issue and we can look around. I mean, I guess Jaylen Brown, who's a championship number 2, but Jaylen Brown is getting paid a lot of money. But if you look around the league, how many number 2s are making $40+ million, and how that kind of stymies what a lot of these guys would want to do. That's the biggest issue. But you can find something. And if you're not going to find a pure number 1, like I said, well, then it's making sure that this team makes way more sense than it does right now. That's the other way to kind of approach this thing. Coming up next, we keep the Kings convo going. Also, a couple notes on the A's as they took on the Padres. If you missed our Eric Martin's chat, our coaches show in the 11 o'clock hour, you can check that out on the Sacktown Sports app and on the YouTube as well. But we will continue to break down what the Kings can do in this situation and just how far they can go this postseason. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
All guests and callers join us from the Folsom Lake Honda hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Come check out Capital Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room with the most variety of table games in the region in a safe and friendly environment. Plenty of well-lit parking available, conveniently located in downtown Sacramento. And remember, Capital Casino has the best food, the best service, and the best action. 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento. For more information, log on to capital-casino.com, and please gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Sacramento's premier country music festival, Country in the Park, is coming back May 16th and 17th at Cal Expo with Bailey Zimmerman, Billy Currington, Cole Wetzel, Nate Smith, and more. You'll enjoy food trucks, rock walls, and a mechanical bull, line dancing, and more. Single-day GA tickets start at $52 at CITPFest.com. Country in the Park, May 16th and 17th with Rocks Tech, Michelob Ultra, and Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. More info at CITPFest.com.
Allen Stiles
You can join the show by texting 916-339-1140
on Sacktown Sports.
Saw this on the text line. Somebody said, you guys really stink for not taking calls right now. Well, we are taking calls. Unless, Kyle, you got something you want to admit
Ooh, that was a fumble on my part. Apologies, call line. I put the call blocker on. I can't remember at what point during the 12 o'clock hour, and I forgot to take it off. That's on me. That's off me, coach.
Wow. Well, hey, at least you're wearing it, taking some accountability, unlike the
After
Nuggets
our
players.
buddy Ken called in, I turned it off for the break when I ran out of the room, and I forgot to untap it.
Okay. At least you're wearing it, unlike the Nuggets players who are full of bleep and got Mike Malone fired. And now his imminent return to Sacramento may be on the way. So shout out to the 209. Call on in. Whatever you got for us, we want to hear from you. 916-339-1140. As I take a look at the text line, and we are going to spend some time on the A's and also what the ceiling is for this Kings team. But I'm also seeing this, and I'm kind of upset that we're here. We spent a lot of time on Malik Monk last show. We definitely did. And on a day where the Kings won, and last night was a day where the Kings won, that show as well, I don't want this to come off as negative at all, because Malik has given this team a lot of joy, and I'm not going to forsake him because he's having a rough go and has kind of been moved around a lot. The 916 says we need to talk about Malik. He has probably been the worst all-around player on the Kings for a solid month or even more. He's a liability right now, and if this version of him is what we're stuck with, I don't want him on the floor for more than 8 to 12 minutes a game to give other guys a breather. That text just makes me sad. And some people have to wear some of the things that they felt and thought. I'm not saying that this number is a part of that, but there were people. Number one, we had conversations about whether or not Malik Monk was as good as De'Aaron Fox. Okay. We had conversations whether or not the Kings needed De'Aaron Fox because Malik Monk was doing his thing. So to go from that to now all of a sudden, Malik, I don't want to see him on the floor for more than 8 to 12 minutes. I get he's not playing well. He's not. But there is a best version of this team that includes Malik. I understand the conversations that we have about when a team makes sense and doesn't make sense from a roster construction. But even with that being said, to turn Malik into a real sub and help the other guys get a breather guy, I don't think he's there. He is struggling, and it is tough. And maybe he didn't realize how well him and De'Aaron fit together. But I'm not willing to go there yet. He has not been playing well. But I do think that if the Kings want to do what I think that they can do, Malik's got to be a part of it. Kyle, where are you at with the Malik situation?
So we're kind of in this weird spot right now where the injuries and the illness make it different. I've talked about before, just the starting point guard thing didn't work, and that's fine. Let's put Malik in the best position to succeed. But it seems like, and over the last 2 games, we've kind of seen the results that bear this out. On this current version of the team, what makes the most sense is Malik being that spark plug offensive option off the bench. And I say spark plug in air quotes because it's not like he's coming in and the offense isn't working. Because as we've seen over the last 2 games, you mentioned the numbers earlier, Sabonis, DeRozan, and LaVine have scored 70% of their points and are each playing over 40 minutes in each game. That's the type of thing you do when playoffs roll around. And I think you're going to see that rotation shrink quite a bit coming up here. And I'm not saying Keon Ellis is going to play 40 minutes in all these playoff games, but I do think someone's going to get crunched as you see the rotations shorten, the minutes get less. And by the way, as Trey Lyles reemerges as a legitimate first or second option off the bench, I mean, in these 2 games subbing in for Keegan Murray, he's been excellent. And he's someone who, if he can play that level of defense, you want being on the floor in crunch time of playoff games, or at least in meaningful minutes in the play-in games. So those are kind of the tough decisions they're going to have to figure out. I just think Malik Monk is kind of in a weird limbo situation here, and maybe we'll have a deeper analysis on that once we do our end of season grades and stuff. But he's just kind of in a weird spot, not just because of the injuries and the illnesses, but just, again, they made this switch and they haven't really explained why they made the switch, but now he's also hurt. But then Jake LaRavia is going to come back. It's like, it doesn't make a ton of sense.
Yeah, and like you said, somebody in the playoffs always has to sacrifice. And I didn't think it would be Malik Monk, but it is understandably Malik Monk because he also was removed from the starting lineup. I think the biggest thing for this team is that they had too many cooks in the kitchen. And if you go to Hell's Kitchen or whatever, wherever it was, they had too many people on the meat station. You only need 1 or 2 guys on the meat station. Somebody's got to do apps. Somebody's got to do dessert. Somebody has to do the sides. And the Kings, they had 3 dudes trying to work the meat station, okay, for the ribeye or whatever it is, and it wasn't working. It wasn't working. So because of that, hey, Malik, we have enough people on the meat station, but Malik can't really go and help with the apps. He doesn't know how to do that. He doesn't really have a history baking, so he can't really help with the dessert. So he's just kind of there for when one of the other cooks needs a break, like Zach LaVine, to the point of the texter. But just seeing 8 to 12 minutes, that's what really shook me. The reality is that's just where we're at right now. What I don't want to happen, and I'll be very clear with this as well, is I don't want Doug. You have 2 games. You have 1 game. Okay, I'm going to stop disrespecting the Mavericks. You have 1 game until you have another game. So
the visions are clear now.
We can get to a place where you have to do what's right for the team. And Doug can make some decisions, and we don't know if Malik is even going to play tomorrow night. I think Doug kind of has gotten an excuse out of this because of the illness, because of the injuries, where it's, well, we're just kind of rocking and rolling with who's available, Malik. We can't really just get you in there and force feed you minutes. And I think that's where I do agree with the texter. If 8 to 12 minutes feels like the best version of this team, then do it. I don't think it should be in stone. I don't think it should be in Sharpie. But if that's what feels right, then do it. I do not want Doug trying to force feed Malik minutes because he feels bad. And because, hey, I mean, let's think about what Malik was doing last season. It was beautiful. Let's think about what Malik was doing when he first got added into the starting lineup, when De'Aaron was still here. It was awesome. But that's a different team. And I don't think that they can afford, especially in a win-or-go-home scenario, hey, well, we got to make sure Malik gets his minutes, right? If that's not how you've been winning basketball games and you go to his first rotation, sure, but that's not just a Malik thing. That's for anybody. When you get to the playoffs, there's no more set rotations, right? We'll go back during some of those winning streak games where Keegan weirdly didn't pull, like Jake LaRavia kind of weirdly got some of Keegan's minutes, but nothing was really said about it, and they won the game, so let's just power through. But Doug has been fairly consistent on riding hot hands, and I do feel like once you get to that play-in, the handcuffs, the shackles, the glove, everything is off. It's, hey, let's figure out a way to win this game. And I got to, again, going back to March Madness, and I got to go with who's hot, even if you helped us get here. If you're not hot today, let alone you haven't been hot for the last month, it just kind of is what it is.
Well, and the other part is, let's say, would you agree with this statement first? When the playoffs / play-in roll around, they will play Zach LaVine and Domantas Sabonis and DeMar DeRozan and potentially Keegan Murray 40 minutes if they need to.
Yes.
So if that's true, you're looking at either an 8-man rotation or a 9th person who's coming in for like 5 minutes, basically, at that point. So let's just thought experiment. Who's your 8-man rotation? If everyone's healthy, who's your 8-man rotation?
Let's get to it on the other side. We're over time. I'm giving Kyle the Dame Lillard for once. We will break down where these minutes are going to come from for Malik Monk, as everybody's favorite pizza guy has had a rough go between injuries and just rough situations of the ever-changing role that he has had. We finish off that conversation, talk a little bit about the A's as they're still looking for that first win at home. And of course, before we get out of here, we got a pocket watch. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
I'm a pizza guy.
Wednesday night, Kings and Nuggets. Game night with Scott Marsh and the high flyer Henry Turner starts at 5:30. Tip-off at 7.
The Kings play here on Sacktown Sports.
Sacktown Sports, 1140.
Spring has sprung, and now is the best time to spruce up your home. Between spring cleaning and evaluating your home, it is the perfect time to reach out to the folks at the Overhead Door Company of Sacramento. Jason Ross here, and I'm so glad we did. We reached out, and we're now about a month in to our brand new garage doors. Now, first off, we improved our curb appeal. They look great, and it's one of the first things people notice when they approach your home. A new, modern, stylish garage door can improve the overall appearance of your home, just like it did for us. Also, how about this for a nice benefit? The return of investment. A new garage door is high on the return of investment home improvement project list. It's one of the more cost-effective upgrades you can make to improve your home's value. Hey, see for yourself. Check out their products. Go to the showroom at 6756 Franklin Boulevard and ask about the Sacktown Sports Special. Overhead Door Company of Sacramento, the genuine, the original overhead door. Always look for the red ribbon logo.
It's the final days of the spring sales event. Drive home your new Honda before the deals and the new Hondas disappear. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Looking to own or lease? During the spring sales event, drive a brand new Accord or Civic. Visit us today at folsomlakehonda.com, your one-stop Honda shop.
As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our number one priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, and advanced fiber solutions, Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business.
Switch today and ask how to get a $500 prepaid card on a qualifying gig speed package. Offer ends 4/21/25. New customers only with a 2-year agreement. Other restrictions apply.
When an overwhelmed injury victim calls Ashton or Price, we immediately remove their legal burden and introduce them to the very best medical care in the region. They focus on their health, and we handle all the rest. When they reach the end of their medical journey and are reunited with happiness and hope, we unleash our decades of legal experience to obtain maximum compensation. We are real, local, experienced litigators and snappy dressers too. Consultation's free, and there's never a fee until we win.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton and Price.
The hot weather is coming. Is your HVAC system ready for it? Let Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating make sure it is. Get to Lee'sAirPlumbingandHeating.com. Check out their $99 HVAC tune-up special. And let me tell you why Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating is the way to go. They took care of me when our heater collapsed over the winter, and Lee's set us up with a great new HVAC system that is providing comfort, value, and quality. Let Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating take care of you. License number 635355.
We're super excited to announce that the new truck center is now open at Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. And it's easy to find from anywhere. They're centrally located right across from Hagan Oaks Golf Course. At Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, you never have to sacrifice great service to get a good deal. They make sure you're treated the way you deserve to be treated. Showing time and time again that Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, it's the place where a handshake still means something. I mean, that's the reason why people are coming from all over town. Elk Grove, Folsom, Woodland, Roseville. Stop on in and experience the difference for yourself.
The wait is over. River Cats baseball is back. Whether you're cheering on your team with friends or enjoying a fun night out with the family, Sutter Health Park is the place to be. With exciting giveaways, great food, and plenty of entertainment, join us for another year of River Cats memories all season long. Don't miss the first games of 2025. Grab your tickets today at rivercats.com.
49ers are on the clock. Don't miss Sacktown Sports coverage of the upcoming draft. Brought to you by Twin Peaks, the ultimate sports lodge. No one covers pro football like Sacktown Sports, and there's no place better to enjoy it than with over 80 screens at Twin Peaks. And their ice-chilled 29-degree drafts at the 5 p.m. happy hour kickoff.
Your home for Kings talk and so much more.
Live and local.
Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
Taking you up to 2 p.m., 30 more minutes with you. Then it's time for the drive, guys. We're going to finish off this exercise that we were getting into before the break with Kyle breaking down if all of the starters, I mean, last night, obviously Malik went down, but if all the starters last night, 38 minutes, 35 minutes, 37 minutes, 45 minutes, 37 minutes, if they're all getting to 40 minutes or around there, there's only, and mostly it's Keon who played 37 last night. If you're looking at the 1-to-1 comparison between him and Malik Monk, how much time is actually available? Right. And not the same position, but you look at Trey Lyles and how well he's been playing. And you could even throw Devin Carter in there. And if they are going to play these, legit playoff rotations where they're getting close to 40 minutes, where is the time for Malik going to come from? So Kyle, you had something cooked up.
All right, well, let's play the game here. In a one-game, win-or-go-home situation for the Sacramento Kings, how many minutes would you like Domantas Sabonis to play?
Domantas Sabonis, I mean,
obviously,
yeah.
max of 48.
Yeah, we're going to be around, 38 or something like that.
All right, we'll go 38. How about DeMar DeRozan?
34.
34, all right. Zach LaVine?
Zach LaVine's going to be high. Zach LaVine's going to be about 36.
36, got it. All right, how about Keegan Murray?
33, 34. Depends on if Jake LaRavia is back, I would say.
All right, and then let's say Keon Ellis. How many minutes in a win-or-go-home game would you like Keon Ellis to be on the floor?
That's really all this is about. The other guys don't matter. 32.
All right, we'll say 32. So now you have, if my math is correct here, about 72 minutes to work with, I believe. Wait, hold on. Sorry, quick math. You've got 104 minutes to allocate to the rest of the team, essentially, at that point.
And Jake is going to get some of those minutes. Trey, Valanciunas.
Sorry, hold on. I'm doing the math real quick here. So you said 32 for Keon?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you've got 72 minutes for the rest of the team.
Then you subtract, 10 or 12 for Valanciunas. We know he's going to be there. So now
you've got 60 to work with.
Trey's probably at 10.
All right. How about LaRavia?
LaRavia is going to be at about 15, I'd say.
Any Devin Carter?
Not really. I mean, 7. 10 feels high.
All right. If we go 7, that means you have left Malik Monk with 28 minutes of playing time.
And right now, I'm sure people are saying that feels high. That feels high.
I also think DeMar DeRozan might end up with more than 34, though.
Yeah. So, I mean, but this is what it's been, right? We started this conversation when Malik Monk started putting together games with only 20 minutes. So that to me is fine. And that's how we ended up here. I don't need to have Malik Monk only playing 8 to 12 minutes. I don't think he's hurting the team that much. And I think he can turn it on at any moment. So throw on 8 more minutes to a couple other starters, and yeah, give me a normal 20 minutes for Malik, and it can get to 25 or even 28 if he starts rolling. But I think that's pretty. It all makes sense to me. But Malik at less than 15 minutes doesn't really feel realistic to me, even in a playoff scenario.
I'm glad this all makes sense to you. Perhaps you might be able to even say
The visions are clear now.
No, they are clear. They are clear. Speaking of the visions, we talked a little bit about this with Eric Martins, who joined us for our debut of our coaches show. And I told him, Kyle, and this is where I'm at with it. We're about to go pocket watching in about 6 minutes here, but just real quick, I don't know, man. And Whitey, I see Whitey hop in there, but because we're doing the remote thing, I think it might be easier to not do crosstalk. But I saw Whitey leaning into some of the drama last night with the old videos and photos and screenshots of the crowd sizes. I feel like I'm back in the election with all these pictures of crowd sizes and crowd shots. I'm so done with it. I've already said personally, I'm not paying attention to anything until I am in that building and I can feel the energy or not feel the energy. But it was 9,000 something, and now everybody is kind of penny pinching how much the ballpark is filling up, not filling up. Can you just win? I just care about the A's winning a game. This is all we've learned. This is all we've learned the last, couple weeks here. The idea that the A's could stink and still pack the house is not true. That's the only thing I think I've learned. I didn't know if A's fans were Sacramentans were so thirsty for baseball, they would pack that place even if the A's didn't play well. I didn't feel like they would, and that's why we've continued to say right here on this show, the A's have to be some level of relevant, right? That was a really rough start. Eric Martins, a third base coach, he admitted that to us on this show. He also said, by the way, there may or may not be some torpedo bats headed to Sacramento or already in Sacramento, just a FYI. But the idea that Sacramentans were so thirsty for baseball that they were going to show up even when the A's stunk and did not play well, and again, that Chicago start was not great, that got debunked pretty quickly. But this idea of, hey, how many seats are available? It's gone from 15,000 to 12,000 to 10,000 to 11,000. I don't care. I do not care at this point. The only thing that we have learned is that the A's, while they're here for 3 to 4 years, if they want to pack the house every night, will have to be competitive and win games. That's it. That's it.
Well,
and you were there last night, Kyle.
I was there last night, a once-in-a-lifetime experience for me, which is to see San Diego play at Sutter Health Park in Sacramento. Yeah. I'll be out there again tonight, and I would say of the 9,502 announced attendance, that thing was, I know you haven't been there and you haven't felt the energy yet. That thing was 75% Padres fans. And I might be underselling that. I mean, the entire first base side where the Padres dugout is all brown and yellow.
Are you sure you weren't just paying more attention because you're a Padres fan?
I could hear it. You could hear when Tatis hit the home run or when Cronenworth hit the home run, or I'll say it this way: when they flew out at the end of the game to center field, it sounded like the home team had just won the game by how many Padres fans were cheering after they won.
Padres got a bunch of bandwagon fans anyway, so
but that's the Padres and the Cubs and the Mets and the Yankees are going to do that. Now, will it be that way when the Orioles come to town? I don't think so, but I understand it for the Padres.
Right. What's the line of a team that it would be a bad look? Padres are West Coast. Cubs are a huge brand. Who did you just say? The Orioles? Yeah.
The Orioles shouldn't, I would guess.
I just don't think they will. But who's someone who's right on the line? Like if
Diamondbacks.
Diamondbacks, I would say if they're more Mariners fans than A's fans, that would be problematic as well.
That one's tough though, because I think for some of these, and it depends on timing, right? Like, so I saw some people walking across the Tower Bridge in Padres jerseys. I'm guessing some people are on spring break this week or whatever, and people want to go and see a Sacramento baseball game for the first time. If this is the middle of August and Seattle is putting the same number of fans San Diego put in the stands last night, that would be a little bit surprising.
Okay, I'm just saying, I'm just sick of it, man. Every single game. So, are you going to take a picture today? You didn't take a picture yesterday, did you?
No, well, not of the crowd shot. No, I did not do that, but I will do it if you ask me.
Okay. No, I don't want you to, because I don't want to see it anymore.
Well, okay. Here's the reference I can give you. I took a video of Cronenworth and Tatis going around the bases. I'll play that for you so you can hear just how loud the crowd was when those two home runs were hit. No, I mean it's on my phone.
I'm just saying, man. Can we just enjoy this? And it's all so. Hey, look at this and look at that. And then Whitey had to follow up because somebody said, check in when the game actually starts. Now we have to stamp what time the photos are. I just feel like we're arguing over something pretty insignificant. This is the second homestand of the A's tenure. They're here until they're not here. It is what it is. I know everybody is feeling some type of way because it's a tryout or it's perceived to be a tryout. But we get all that. But at the end of the day, arguing, people should just not waste their time arguing over the difference between 1,000, 500. What's the weather? What's the time of year? It's just, it's a long season, folks. It's a long season. That's all I got. On the other side, let's go pocket watching because it matters now because the Kings, they're good again. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Wednesday night, Kings and Nuggets. Game night with Scott Marsh and the high flyer Henry Turner starts at 5:30. Tip-off at 7.
The Kings play here on Sacktown Sports.
Sacktown Sports, 1140.
Hey, everybody. Kyle Draper here for Mercedes-Benz of Stockton. You know, sometimes you just don't want to buy brand new. I get it. I understand. Sometimes you just want to try something out. Maybe go for a lease. Well, Mercedes-Benz of Stockton is the place for you. They have great lease offers starting at $297 a month. That's right, $297 a month. You know, for over 30 years, Mercedes-Benz of Stockton has been there for the community. Whether you're buying, whether you're leasing, they're the ones you can trust. So head on down to Mercedes-Benz of Stockton right now and check out their fleet of leased vehicles. They have certified pre-owned vehicles as well, starting at just 3.49% on select models from 2021, 22, and 23. So head on down to Mercedes-Benz of Stockton. Tell them your boy Drape sent you, and trust me, they'll take care of you. They're a partner you can trust. Or you can always go online at mbofstockton.com. That's mbofstockton.com.
Power Business Technology is proud to be a 100% independent, locally owned and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer since 2021. Contact us today for all your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729, or visit us at powercopiers.com.
Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Here's Frank LaRosa.
Since the launch of the World Handicap System, a golfer's handicap index has been automatically calculated by taking their 8 best score differentials from their most recent 20 rounds. According to Golf Monthly Newsletter, that handicap is not designed to reflect average scores, but how likely you'll play on a course of average difficulty. Handicaps are generally split into 3 different groups: low, mid, and high. A recent report by the USGA showed that the average handicap index for a male is 14.2 and 28.7 for a female. A golfer with a handicap of 1 to 9 is considered to have a low handicap. A handicap of 10 to 19 is generally thought to be a mid-handicapper, and a higher handicap golfer is 20 and above. Nearly 50% of males are mid-handicappers, with 30% carrying low handicaps, and under 20% of female golfers are in the low and mid-handicap groups. Carry your handicap proudly and play on. It's supposed to be fun. That's your Golf to Go. I'm Frank LaRosa.
Are you ready to unlock your business's potential? Hey, I'm Allen Stiles, and you can do that with Roxas Technology Solutions. Their mission is to empower growth through cutting-edge, reliable, and scalable technology. They tailor solutions to enhance efficiency and foster innovation, ensuring your business thrives in the digital age. Located in Sacramento, their dedicated team is ready to partner with you for your long-term success. Transform your business now. Go to roxtech.com. That's WROXTECH.com. Rox Tech. Tomorrow's technology at your fingertips today.
Want the best movie experience in town? Join Sacktown Sports IMAX Pass by visiting sacktownsports.com. Sign up today. You can win tickets to see this week's films at the Esquire IMAX Theater.
You're home for Kings Talk and so much more.
Live and local.
Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
It has been quite the show today with a lot of movement in the NBA. Here's something for you. With Michael Malone being fired from Denver, 4 of the last 6 NBA coaches to win the finals are no longer with the team that they won with. Kyle, just for fun, we know that you are the aficionado. You should be able to nail this. You know, you just need 3. You already need the 4th.
Yeah. Well, you said 4 of the last 6. I mean, I know who the last 6 champion coaches are. So let's see. It's Nurse, who obviously isn't with the Raptors.
Mm-hmm.
It is Frank Vogel, who's like 3 coaches removed with the Lakers now. It is Budenholzer with the Bucks. And is that it? And then Malone is the last one?
That's it. Nicely done.
You could even take it a step further because Monty Williams, who went to the finals with the Suns, is also out of a job.
Yeah. So I saw something, and I think it was from our one of our buddies, one of the Kings Twitter faithful, Chris. And Chris said that the Kings have been removed from 2 allegations this season. They no longer have made the worst decision on Luka. That belongs to the Mavericks, trading him away. And they no longer have made the worst decision on firing their head coach, which goes to the Nuggets, moving on from Michael Malone. So the Kings, just a great situation. They're 3-0, won a back-to-back against 2 of the best in the East. And they're not being looked at the same way as far as some of the decisions that they have made. This is another fun one for you if you're not driving, or if you're parked in your car, or if you're just not in your car at all. I saw this, Kyle, and it made me chuckle. This will definitely come up on Dave's show tomorrow morning. If you Google it, I don't know if you've seen this so far, but the streets are saying that Calvin Booth looks like Nicolas Cage's face has been put on Mike Brown's body. And it's pretty spot on.
I gotta be honest, I don't know what Calvin Booth looks like. So I've got the image in my head. What we're gonna do right now is I'm literally gonna Google Calvin Booth as we're speaking,
it's pretty good, man.
Let's see. Damn, that's crazy. Honestly, that's crazy.
That is pretty spot on.
He's also got a little Kyrie Irving there too, but honestly, you're not wrong.
Yeah, that is some crazy stuff there, and it resembles because they're out of a job, and Calvin Booth has been relieved of his duties, as well as Michael Malone. Just a full restart out there in Denver. Time to do a little bit of pocket watching, and the Kings can clinch if the Suns lose today. They can clinch a play-in spot. And who do the Suns have you may ask. Well, everyone's favorite team from down 80, the Warriors. Warriors headed to yeah, thank you, Draymond. Warriors taking on the Suns, and the Suns obviously in a must-win situation. I still believe there's no Kevin Durant, if I'm not mistaken. So feels like it's all but over for the Phoenix Suns, and just kind of a rough go. And really, it's been a rough go just because of how it's been drawn out. Right? They kind of messed around and won a couple games when nobody thought they were going to win, and thought that maybe they would be on to something. They were not on to anything. Here's where it gets really interesting for my vision. Grizzlies at Hornets. Don't like that at all. So because I don't like that, we're going to need Timberwolves at Bucks. We're going to need the Timberwolves to win that game. We're going to need the Lakers at Thunder. So, Kyle, I guess it's been said that the Lakers are sitting a bunch of guys today.
Possibly. I think a couple of them have been upgraded to probable, but originally LeBron, Luka, and Reeves were all questionable. And also the Thunder were like 15-point favorites this morning. So I think Vegas was preparing for the possibility that 1 or 2 or 3 of the Lakers' big three weren't going to play.
So Lakers at Thunder. You have the Spurs at Clippers. So that's a good situation for the Clippers. Warriors at Suns. Want the Warriors to win for multiple reasons. Obviously, the Kings clinch the play-in if the Suns lose tonight, and also need the Warriors to stay out of the play-in. Personally, need them to keep up with the Grizzlies, and we need everybody to win to keep the Grizzlies in the play-in, as they will probably beat the Hornets. I mean, anything can happen, but that Hornets team, hashtag who he play for. I don't know if I could name anybody outside of Miles Bridges and Mark Williams, because he was almost going to be a Laker. So he was almost actually talked about. So that's what's going on for.
And your guy, Tejan Salon.
Oh, yes. And Tejan Salon, who
I think their third leading scorer right now is Daquan Jeffries.
Love that guy. And I definitely know who he is. So that's going on. Just as far as the NBA is concerned, and a couple of the fun matchups. Celtics at Knicks. That's at 4:30 your time. Bulls at Cavs. The Cavs can clinch the number 1 seed in the East with a win. Pelicans at Nets. I mean, that's got to be I know it's in Brooklyn, but that's probably a $4 ticket right now if anybody is interested in that, as well as the Hawks at Magic. That's going on in the Eastern Conference as well. So, Kyle, Grizzlies having the Hornets, as far as my vision is concerned, I don't love Grizzlies at Hornets, but the problem is I don't love Grizzlies at Hornets, and I don't mind Timberwolves at Bucks. I also don't love Timberwolves at Bucks. I do like Spurs at Clippers, and I do like Warriors at Suns. So all in all, I will definitely take it. You know what's crazy? First of all, I want to give you props, because it is literally $4 to get a ticket to Pelicans and Nets. Wow.
If anyone would like to go.
There you go.
The part that I thought is funny looking at this, because obviously you mentioned the Warriors need a win there. You want the Timberwolves to win if you're gunning for the Grizzlies specifically. The one that I thought is funny, and they play the Spurs tonight, is the Clippers. Like, we joked about the Clippers and how, if Kawhi doesn't hit that shot, the Kings maybe pass them. We should have just believed in ourselves the whole time. All roads lead to the 5th seed for the Clippers. It's just inevitable. The Clippers will always be the 5th seed. It doesn't matter if they have Paul George, don't have Paul George, Kawhi plays, Kawhi doesn't play. All roads lead to the number 5 seed and a first-round exit for the Clippers.
This is what I love. So, I kind of talked about how certain things that I do on the show, my mentors and other radio hosts may say, hey, you shouldn't do that, right? If they've been doing this for a very long time, but there are things that I pay attention to and I think work well for what we got going on here. And this is my very favorite, as we know that a lot of people can't listen for all 4 hours. We appreciate you, whether you listen for 4 hours or 4 minutes. Kyle, with 2 minutes left in the show, we get a text on the text line, 916-339-1140. And I love this. Mike Malone just got fired.
I love that guy. I love that guy.
Why are you talking about the A's? Mike Malone just got fired. No, he actually got fired about 4 hours ago.
This is almost as funny as the guy that called into Dave's show 2 days after Mike Bibby got hired and was like, did you guys hear Mike Bibby just got hired by Sac State?
Look, I know a lot of people have different jobs where you're not on your phone that much. I wish I was on my phone less. My screen time, I don't even pay attention to it. But yes, we did cover that 925. We did cover Mike Malone for about 2 hours. Steven Torres on the Sac chat. So if the Suns lose, we are in. That doesn't mean that they are the 9 seed, the Kings. But if the Suns lose tonight, the Kings are in the play-in. The 1.6% chance is gone.
So here's the situation. If the Suns lose tonight and the Mavericks do what we expect and lose to the Lakers, where Mavericks fans are going to be cheering for Luka every time he hits a basket, if both of those things happen, then the Kings would be in a win tomorrow and clinch the 9 seed situation.
There you go. There you go. And it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. The Nuggets, who are coachless, David Adelman now the interim head coach, but with a new GM on the horizon, we don't necessarily know what that means for the Nuggets and whether he's coaching for the future or not. This crazy list of coaches continues to get crazier, and a lot of success rolling around, and it's going to be very fascinating to watch moving forward. Drive Guys up next. Whitey Gleason, Kyle Draper, Jay Johnson. Thank you to Kyle. Great job as always. Thank you to Eric Martins, our debut of our coaches show. That's going to be every Tuesday, once a week. So thank you to Eric. That was great stuff. Thank you all the callers, texters, and Sac chatters. Until tomorrow, secure the bag, light the beam.
All power, zero compromise. Ego cordless outdoor power equipment features advanced